Bingo.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Half Past Dead Paranormal Radio, the paranormal and strange. We're live on WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Buffalo, New York. I'm your host, Roger Belt, and of course, my partner,
Hank Stratton, the ever-lovable, friendly neighborhood paranormal investigator.
or Santa Claus for short.
Yo ho ho and a bottle of... Oh, no, wrong song.
We have Anita Joe and Tenzo with us here. We're going to talk about one of Hank's favorite topics, haunted dolls and haunted objects and whatnot and therefore. So, Hank, take it away there, buddy.
One of the things that I find rather interesting is this huge phenomenon from the movie The Conjuring, where they had this doll. Okay,
Annabelle.
Now, we've all seen the movie. Well, no, I haven't, but most people have seen the advertisements for Annabelle. And I got to tell you, the pictures that they used, or the doll that they used for Annabelle, is absolutely creepy. I'm sorry, I've got no other word for it right now. Just
But the
creepy.
thing is it's not Annabelle.
That's what I was getting to, Roger. Thank you for reading my mind. The real Annabelle looks like a child-size Raggedy Ann.
Yes.
Now, I was talking with Anita. She had posted in Facebook about her review of Annabelle. And I told her,
awesome.
Thank you. You've given me an idea outside of all my other ideas that would be a very good topic for our show, because of all the instances of hauntings from dolls and things like that. So, in honor of movie Annabelle, I present to you our discussion of, in this particular case, we're going to call it haunted items and dolls. And one of the ways that I found all of this is through Google, and I've got the link for scroll down. There we go. Listverse.com. 10 freaky dolls you don't want to play with.
Okay.
All right. Now, Anita Joe, you restore old dolls.
That's correct, Hank. Yes, been doing that for about 20 years.
Have you experienced, before I really get into this, have you experienced anything odd and creepy, you know?
Well, I've dealt mostly with the antique dolls that are over 100 years old, China, bisque. Some of them are rag dolls. I can't say that I've ever had any kind of bad experience with the dolls and the dolls in my collection. The only time I had a strange happening in my art studio was when I had a small souvenir doll, the type that are dressed from the foreign lands. And it was given to me by a client. It was her deceased aunt's doll. The doll came from Wales, and it was presented to me to be restored because she wanted to go through the box of dolls her aunt had left her and wanted them to be able to display. And only when I was fixing this one Welsh doll that I happened to have an item or two on my bookcase actually flew off the bookcase. It was, I think it was just a folder or a small little pocket, little notepad. And that was kind of strange because I've never had any type of energy like that associated when I was working with a particular doll. And now it doesn't mean that, these dolls, as you mentioned, aren't possessed, but overall, when I've dealt with dolls, I've never felt creeped out, or I've been collecting dolls all my life, and particularly the antique dolls to me are works of art, and I love the collecting, the history behind them, but there is a real set of legends and a whole culture built around other types of dolls that are indeed cursed or possessed or accidentally haunted. So those are the ones I think, Hank, that you are maybe picking up the energy because they do carry some type of possession or are inhabited by maybe perhaps a spirit.
From my experience, okay, and one of the greatest collectors that I knew personally was my great grandmother in her attic, where she also was, which was also her room. She had an old Howdy Doody marionette. She had one of the first sound activated dolls.
Okay. Very rare.
This also comes under the heading of haunted items. I mean, there was just some strange energy that was up there. I just like, Grandma, really? What's all this stuff in here?
Well, it's strange. It's really a good fact that you bring up that these belong to your grandmother, great grandmother. When things are passed down through the family, through generations, and the dolls have stayed in the same family, it seems like it's picking up energies, and collectively, maybe it's generating some type of spirit or this type of thing surrounding the actual dolls. And I think that's why people, when they are buying dolls from a family that's just singly owned the doll, and now they want this doll because it might be a rarer type, you don't know what you're buying along with the doll. You might be getting some type of activity associated, only because dolls were made to be, used as objects of of instruction. They were well loved. Children kept them, with them in hard times and good times. If they were sick, they had their favorite toy or doll next to them. And who knows what types of energies, or things, some of it would be just well loved items. But of course, now the big popular thing, or it's been really well documented recently, is how many of these objects were used for more dark purposes.
Well, let's look at the story, The Velveteen Rabbit. Okay. Now that's a beautiful child's story of all good intents, and then the child gets sick, and the rabbit has to be destroyed, and then comes back to life. The point that I'm getting at with the Velveteen Rabbit is it doesn't have to be a doll.
That's right.
Any a stuffed animal, a doll, whatever has had a lot of, shall we say, love, a lot of emotion poured into it. And like Toby says, one doll is love. Oh yeah, most in particular. Okay, that was Toby's posting. I also understand that when something tragic has happened to a child or a person, and when I say tragic, I don't mean a death. I don't mean a debilitating illness. I mean anything that has caused harm to that child, whether it's being bullied, whether it's being abused and molested. All that energy gets poured into that object, that doll, whatever it might be.
Well, they become like a vessel. It's a vessel for absorbing all these emotions, Hank. And it could be, just the grief. Also, a child looks to an object like a stuffed animal, whether or a doll or whatever, and that is, what they're talking to the doll or they're talking to the animal, for comfort, because it's something tangible that it's brought down to their level. It's something small that they can hold close to them. And I mean, you could date this back to the ancient Egyptians. Ancient Egypt, they found dolls that are like close to 5,000 years old. That this is not a new phenomenon. That children have always looked for representations of themselves, because then they can control it a little bit more. When you have an object that looks like a little figurine like yourself, then that's something that they can identify, and that's what all the toy makers throughout the centuries know what really piques a child's interest, or what is something that a child identifies with. And it's more recently, you're going with the doll theme because of the Annabelle movie, and then of course Roger the Doll and some other famous ones that have come to light. But the dolls have been around for thousands of years, and it's whether some of the older ones, if that have survived, whether they have energies, if they're in a museum, it's a little hard to kind of test it if it's behind a glass case to see if these carry energies from several thousand years ago. We're able to now look more on, because dolls are more on average. Everybody has a toy or a doll that more of this is coming out because it's more accessible with the stories. I mean, privileged children only had dolls, and it's only the last 150 years that the average working class people or poor people could even afford a type of doll, to give to their children, or a toy, because of the mass manufacturing of them. So, you've got very rare types of dolls, rare examples, and of course you have more common types, but as you said, Hank, it doesn't have to be a doll. It could be, and it could be a figurine. It doesn't even have to be stuffed animal. I mean, figurines that they use for voodoo, voodoo dolls could be made of clay. They could be made of rags or some kind of straw. Whatever you can form into a figurine to kind of put your energy into in a form of like cursed or possessed. There's two types. There's the haunted doll is where we've been talking about something has actually inhabited this vehicle, this item that a child has owned. And then the types that are deliberately for cursed or possession, that is something with darker intentions. And there's actually a figurine in the museum, in the Louvre Museum in Paris, that is one of the most ancient examples that dates back to Greek times, of a doll with all the pins stuck in it. And these were done deliberately to, where someone was trying to put a curse on someone else, whether it was for fortune or to get back for revenge. But, this is something that is not new. This is evoking ancient types of mystery and magic, and and the dark arts. So now, because of social media and more, we can grasp the fact that these dolls are out there. And I'll tell you, I've never dreamed what there was out there. As you said, you Google it. There's thousands of sites, talking about dolls, and and people are making haunted dolls or goth-looking dolls, and I find it a little bit disturbing, to tell you the truth, that you're actually taking a doll and making it worse than it has to be, that just so you can make it to sell it. That's a whole different ball game to actually make these things.
You're not talking about Monster High, are you?
No, I'm actually talking about, I've been on auction sites, and people are taking dolls that I recognize, because I'm a doll historian. I've been, I talk to groups and lecture about antique dolls, and people bring their dolls for appraisals. And I've actually noticed, like, the dolls from maybe they bought something that was maybe on QVC, and they've taken that normal, quote unquote, normal doll and changed it into, by cutting it and sewing it up and changing the painted face and then putting rags or shrouds on it. I'm horrified to see what people are doing to these dolls so they can sell them as haunted dolls. So it's buyer beware. You don't know what you're buying, but I doubt most of these that they're making them up, that they are haunted. And it's the ones that look more innocent, like Annabelle's a Raggedy Ann doll. That's what's more scary to me, is that more of an innocent looking doll that is so a conduit for this demon. You know, if anyone's seen the movie, then they know what I'm talking about. But I find it even that it's almost overkill for Hollywood to be doing that doll that they presented as Annabelle in the movie. And she's just, you know, she looks like one step up below, you know, Jerry Mahoney or Knucklehead Smith, you know, the Howdy Doody dolls that, you know, she's actually a mannequin, I think, that they took and, you know, fixed her up to make her look even more creepy.
Really?
Huh?
Oh my God, really?
Oh yeah. She's not a real. In fact, when I saw the doll in the movie and I heard them pick her up, her joints were clanking together, and I could see how she was jointed. She's actually a mannequin. She was a puppet or a marionette doll. That I'm almost convinced that they took one of these 36-inch marionette dolls, and might have even been a boy doll from what I could see the features, and then
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, and they put a wig on it and make it look more feminine. But when I told Mom, I was with my son and his wife, and I go, this doll is not a regular type of doll. They took something that is like more, and a marionette, I think, are more tended to be, I think, creep you out because they move with the strings. You know, you're actually manipulating them like, you know, the ventriloquist doll. They tend to be, to me, more scary that, you know, than a regular doll, because you're manipulating them and making them talk, you know, and a person's able to put their own, maybe manifest their own fears or anger and all that type of thing by using the doll to do his bidding. So,
Roger?
Yeah, I wanted to throw in here about the Island of Dolls because, you know, we're talking about creepy haunted dolls, place. Well, I mean, not necessarily places, but I've got this page up and I'm looking at these dolls and they're hanging everywhere and they're all.
yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that. I wrote about that.
I mean,
in one of my, I think on my possessed dolls. Yeah, it's an island where they. Oh yeah, well they tore apart dolls and they're hanging them up from the trees, and you know what it is? It's something where you're self-perpetuating the legend. It might have started out with one doll that might have been for somebody who passed away, and the doll might have been put on her grave site. Now you have all these other things that are hanging from trees, and doll heads, and Barbie dolls that are, you know, in different kinds of disarray. I mean, I look at this stuff and I wonder, you know, what sick people are doing this? You know, because, I mean, I cherish dolls, and when I see them being mangled and made into something that they really were never meant to be, you know, I find that really creepy and disturbing. You know, people, you know, when they want to destroy something that I think at one point was a beautiful kind of object, it was meant to be for a comforting thing, and now they're making it into a horrific, you know, site, you know, on that island. It's just, that's what sends chills up your mom. You know, I think we have to worry about the living people that are doing this to the dolls than the actual dolls at some point that they're manipulating these things.
Well, with the 10 dolls that I've come up with that, you know, that I found, there is a Patty Reed's doll. And Patty Reed was one of the no, actually, I don't think she was a survivor. No, that she may have been. Patty had to get rid of all her toys and unnecessary items in the wagons because she was part of the Donner Party.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I think, to my thinking, I mean, it's not saying so much here, but to my thinking, this was something that she may have kept. She may have lost everything else. She may have kept this. And there's reports that, you know, it's difficult to look at and not immediately think of little Patty Reed chewing on human flesh. There's just a lot of, I don't want to just leave it at bad juju, but they're saying that there's a lot of dark energy with this particular doll, and it wasn't created that way, but because of her experience, like we were talking earlier, the all that energy that gets put into a doll. Now, yeah, we've all heard of those zombie voodoo dolls, Okay, and uh, wow, I'm not poo-pooing it, but some of the examples that they have, if you believe something and strong enough in something, it will carry out for you. Just as I could create a thought form and have it create a an issue for someone that I would direct it at, and then I would call it back. Now I would be inheriting some bad karma, but it's basically the same thing. There's another doll. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what you're saying about the Donner Party doll, exactly. She kept the doll, and what it is, the legend builds up around it because you can't see the doll without thinking of the horrific, circumstances that those people went through, and the death and the gruesome, discovery that they found out. They had to eat people to stay alive. And I think that's part of it, Hank. That it's what people, what they make up in their mind too, and project on to a doll or a voodoo object. I mean, the intent is very, very real, and it can, I think, become reality if you will it to be so much. I mean, it's a thought process, but everybody builds on top of the legend, and it gets more and more layers until originally it might have not been so sinister, but other things, the thought processes and cultural and legends things build on top of it, and it becomes its own, it becomes its own history within itself, and.
I'm gonna pop in here real quick, and I gotta say, Anita.
Yes.
I watched my mom growing up as a kid. She used to make porcelain dolls. I've got a slew of porcelain dolls here. Now, as we go back in time, like you were saying, how the porcelain, the china, and everything else was being used, could you imagine how much energy is being put into that doll besides like Raggedy Ann, some of these others that are common? I would think the porcelain ones would be more apt to be in the category that we're discussing.
Well, yeah, I think the very nature of the material, because it is porcelain, and porcelain is like almost waterproof. It's been fired really high. It actually becomes a hollow container. Especially, actually, of the doll, the whole doll, the head is usually the most hollow part because that's where you're manufacturing in the mold. Then the rest of the body is usually a solid wood or composition or some other type of jointed body, or even a rag body or leather. So the head, because even in our culture, the head is the seat of all our ideas and our mind. You think about, okay, there's a chamber in this doll that could easily house, a spirit, and it's a receptacle, because it is, and there's, of course, the eyes are made of glass. If it is a porcelain doll, sometimes are sleep eyes, and it has a very realistic look to it because the Germans were masters of making these dolls, and they tried to get as realistic as possible because when the children identified the dolls that looked like them, they wanted to buy them. They were smart. They knew how to sell the product. And even today, the dolls tend to be, if it's a doll maker, they're making beautiful objects. They're making beautiful dolls or character dolls. But there's always that point where the head is hollow. Because I work on dolls all the time, and people don't know that you have to take off the wig, and there's actually a little cap on the top to get inside the head. So it's the porcelain. I think would be probably one of the most popular, that people would think it would be something to possess, if something would possess inside of it.
Wow. So basically what you're saying is that there's not a lot of real evidence that there is a haunting in dolls?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. I do believe that there's some haunting going on with dolls. My own experience hasn't been in that factor. But I do have to say that I own right now a Peruvian mummy doll that was left to me by my friend who passed away, was an anthropologist. And when we've had some of the paranormal investigators here at my house, they put the EMF detector next to the doll, and it was really very, very high spikes we were getting. Now the idea is, now this doll, this mummy doll it's actually from the 1950s, because I did research, and I didn't think the makeup of the doll, when I first looked at it, didn't seem to be like a couple hundred years old. But the doll was made in the 50s by these Peruvian Indians. But what she's made up of is cloth and textiles that came from a mummy's tomb. That these actual fabrics are 650 years old or more, and they are actually from mummies or from wrappings that were of really low quality, that were left in these I guess you might call them dumps. When archaeologists were digging through areas, this was all leftover materials, and the Indians were gathering these up and dressing the dolls in these ancient textiles. So it's not so much my mummy doll might be that she's haunted, but the actual fabric is of such an ancient quality and was on a mummy that, we definitely think that she's got energy associated with her, and it has proven on a couple of the meters. So she's, we kind of tuck her away and have her away from some other Peruvian objects. We don't want her influencing to stall other things that my friend had left me, because, we have enough problems with the stuff that he's left me as it is. That's why I'm writing the sequel to my book, because it's been, it's just been one thing after the other, that it was so thousands of objects he's left me, and, they're all kind of combined together, and it's it's anybody's guess exactly what's haunting what, with these objects that I own now.
Now, here's something. If you've been in my house, like Toby has, like Laura has, most other members of my team have been in the house, and grandson loves the idea. I have a collection of, yeah, I know, as masculine as I am, I have a collection of Barbie dolls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're basically collectors.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And since Barbie has everything, I'm going to make that chick work for me and for a change.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these are my. Well, actually, I only own one. The rest were my deceased wife's.
Okay.
And I find it interesting. There is no real energy from them.
Mm-hmm.
But I have it's more of a figurine, and I call it Michael, the Archangel.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And there, even a sensitive would be able to pick up and notice that there is a lot of light energy in that.
Okay.
So it's like you say, what the materials, like your doll. Excuse me, just for a moment, because I have to make an announcement. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Buffalo, New York. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, the material that it was made with, there was a lot of historical value with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a collection of clown figurines. They are Diane's mothers.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, we're dealing with figurines. And I've got one that I've learned to appreciate, not just deal with, but learn to appreciate. And it's a tall clown, similar to a Emmett Kelly.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And there is, I don't know if I've tamed it or if or it's accepted me, but there is an energy from it, and it's in my It's in my office, and we'll let it go at that. And
Hello? I'm on the radio show, honey. I can't talk right now. Bye-bye. Bye. Excuse me. Oh, goodness. Jeez, my son called me and I told him I was going to be on the show. That's Chris. Remember he was on your show
yes,
before.
I remember Chris. Yeah,
Yeah,
Chris. We were doing
he's getting back to me.
Interview about your book.
He's we're having a store. Here's something about with objects. We're getting a store together, and he paints miniature models, and he does all the Chaos Warriors. He does the vampire counts. He's got the undead army. And some of our friends said, now that you have a store and you have thousands of these figurines that he's painted and he's going to be putting them all on display, I wonder what's going to happen at the store. So I said, well, it's to be continued. I don't know. He got us on another show back to talk about his haunted store. So that's crazy.
Speaking of haunted store, okay, one of the last, in fact, it's numbered 1 in the in this list burst 10 top freaky dolls not to play with. There is, and Toby's made mention of this. There is a set of dolls by the name of Crystal, True, Monica, Charla, Isaac, Lily, Ashley, and Cameron. And the photo credit that I have and I pass around is dollhousecam.com. And these people in Pennsylvania, a family of 5 in rural Pennsylvania, intentionally bought these 5 haunted dolls.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah, and I noticed. I saw the dolls, and they're not antiques. I mean, none of the dolls are antique dolls. They're dolls that are maybe made in the last 20 years. That are typical that you see online auctions. I don't know what exactly is the criteria, Hank, for them to say, well, I bought this haunted doll. Now, are they taking the word of the person who sold it to them to say, well, it's such and such, is there a story behind the doll, each one? I was reading what, you had sent me the link, and I read that, and I just can't imagine why you would intentionally bring in, a haunted doll and buy one that's supposed to be haunted for whatever reason. I mean, that's 5 of them that you're supposed to have that, that these people have, and why are you asking for such trouble? I mean, or do they feel that they need this excitement in their life that you intentionally buy a doll that's supposedly haunted? I mean, people have dolls that just happens that the dolls maybe are possessed or cursed and they did not seek this out. I mean, that's the most of the way, like you've mentioned that you were left dolls from family members, and Toby, mentioned that there's dolls that he's seen or associated with. These are things that have come into your life that you didn't ask for. But for people to actually, and this happens a lot, I am fascinated by this cultural phenomenon of people online buying such and such haunted dolls. And the whole story I've read behind it that this is a doll, was owned by this girl, she died in a car accident, and this is her name, and she's a really good spirit that's in the doll. I'll tell you, I think it's a really bordering on fraud to me, and people are being taken in by this stuff, because I find it hard to believe, that you can intentionally. I have this doll and I made her haunted. Unless you're practicing witchcraft or black magic. I mean, it's that people will say a doll is. They'll get a common doll that won't even cost $15, $20 online. That they're not expensive dolls, and as soon as they say the doll's haunted and start saying the doll moves from different room to room, or I've seen the doll close her eyes, you should see the prices for the doll normally would not bring more than $15. Automatically it's tripling in value, and that's why people are selling and saying the dolls are haunted, because they're making money on it. And that's where I find this goes on from being actual real things that have happened to people, and I have no doubt that this Roger the doll and Annabelle and these other things cited have some kind of energy, or something is truly something going on with these particular items. But for people to to make these things and say they're haunted, I find it, to me, it's borderline fraud and charging people extra money. And if people want to buy the stuff, then go ahead, buyer beware. But you're being taken in. There's no actual documentation for what the person is telling you that the doll's haunted. I actually have people contacting me and wanted to buy haunted dolls from me. Because, just because my house, I've got paranormal activity in my house, doesn't mean all my antique dolls are haunted. I live in a haunted house. There's no doubt about it. We have resident ghosts and everything. But I've never felt that my dolls, none of them ever give me the willies, or I have a whole collection of antique dolls. But it's the idea that people are intentionally trying to sell antique, these haunted dolls. I just think it's a disgrace. People are being taken in, and they should find another hobby because it's no good's going to come from it. That they want to keep. You don't even know what you're buying, and if it is haunted, you're actually going to bring that into your house, and your children or grandchildren to be associated with it. So I think there's some irresponsibility going on too. I'm a doll collector, and I've seen dolls. The dolls have gone for $250,000 on auction, and these are rare French maker dolls that people buy as an investment. They cost as much as a house. That's how rare and how crazy the doll market has become. People actually spend $300,000 on a doll, but and that's where people see dollar signs. Well, I could just get a doll, say it's haunted, and it could be a really sore point with me, but I'm very passionate about my craft. That I restore dolls. I love antique dolls. And I've never understood why people would be afraid of dolls. I've never felt any of that. I just admire the art, the craftsmanship, and the artistry to sculpt these dolls. And they are works of art. But this other whole line of getting into, purposely saying, some dolls are haunted outside of the ones that we definitely know that there's legends and there's actually some documentation behind it. I don't know, Hank. It's something that it's going to continue as long as there are people going to buy the stuff. Then it's going to perpetuate. There'll still be all these going on. But I just tell people, be aware of what you're buying, and go to a reputable person who sells and buys dolls. And if you are interested in buying an antique doll, know what you're buying. And I tell people, contact me if you see a doll on auction and you want to buy it. Make sure it's not a replica or a reproduction, because you're spending $300 on a doll that only costs normally maybe $20. And people are getting taken in. I tell them, talk to me. I'll help you out and tell you if it's an antique or not. But yeah. Anyway, I'm off my bandwagon.
You have an excellent point. Like we were talking about the dolls on dollhousecam.com.
Mm-hmm.
When you have something like Robert, like Annabelle, like this haunted painting that eBay sellers have been passing around,
mm-hmm.
It's like a responsibility. If you have it, seriously, you're going to let it out in the public? If you've got a way of
mm-hmm.
keeping it safe or keeping it from causing any harm, I think that would be the best thing. And,
yes. Mm-hmm.
and it has to be handed down to someone who accepts that responsibility.
Absolutely. Good point. Let's see, with Annabelle, she's locked away. Robert the doll's locked away. There have been where people have stepped up to the plate, realize what these objects can do. But, when you see things, it's all about money, Hank. It's what they can put out there, sell it on auction or online, and it starts getting the mystique around it. But just like the Dibrox box, it's been known that it was supposed to be this, ancient Jewish demon supposed to be in this box, and, people that dealt with it, then what are you doing? You're selling it to someone else to get it away from it, instead of okay, let me take this thing and bury it somewhere, or, lock it away. But no, you're passing this on to another unknowing person. That's irresponsible too. That's why I just say with these, these people having these haunted dolls. Now, if they stay in your home and you know this is what you bought and you're going to take care of them, but what happens when you pass on? Do you leave it in your will to say these dolls have to stay together, or the dolls, they're going to get dispersed and then someone else is going to get a haunted doll without knowing it? I mean, there's a lot to think about.
Again, someone has to step up to the plate. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, my dolls, they were all handmade by my mom.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I watched her pour the porcelain. I mean, each one had a special stamp on it. So, the value of these dolls alone are worth money. Now, yeah, I could be like some of these money hungers out there and say, hey, I want to sell this one. I mean, it's like my Prince William doll. I have been seeing it go for buku bucks. And I'm sitting here going, why would anybody want to sell that? Now, we have one. It became my dad's before he became terminally ill and passed away. He called it Ruby. And my mom made it specially for him. She dyed the mold to become a colored doll.
Okay.
Well, instead of cementing the eyes in like they normally would for porcelain dolls, she packed the head in with material and left them loose. But my dad came back with glue and then glued the eyes in. So, okay, they're glued, but they're not cemented.
Okay.
Well, my dad swore up and down that the eyes moved before he became terminally ill. Well, my dad dressed it up, went out and bought baby clothes for it, dressed it up, gave it a high chair, put it right next to his chair. And every time he'd get up, go do something, he'd come back in. He said the eyes would be focused right on where the entryway for the living room is from the kitchen.
Okay.
So, right there, okay, my mom made it. I watched her make it. I helped her make it because I'm the one that stuffed the body, which was nothing but cotton. So.
But the eyes, see, that's what people have said. In most of the doll cases, it's the eyes that, they're the things that either move or they look at you, because that's directly what, when you look at a doll, you look at the eyes immediately. That's what really attracts you to the doll, an expression. And, who's to say, your dad, you don't know what he was really seeing, but it's a possibility because your mom and she put a lot of love into it. And it doesn't mean it was anything creepy or sinister. It's just maybe the doll was watching him and looking out for him as a guardian too, in some case. We're always talking about what the dolls, in with the paranormal, it doesn't have to be that it's always, a negative or evil thing. Dolls could also be of a nature where they bring the comfort and are of a being of light, too, that they are a good thing. So, it goes both ways, whatever, a lot of my dolls, mine have sleep eyes. They have the permanent eyes that are glued. But, it's the ideas where, they give me a sense of comfort because a lot of them I've restored. And the dolls that, they would have been maybe thrown in the trash if I didn't retrieve them or buy them in pieces online and then restore them back to the way they should look, and maybe the dolls are happy to be where they are here, because they know that I care. I'm a caretaker. I mean, anybody who collects dolls, you don't really own a doll. You have it for a short time. You're the caregiver, and then it passes on to the next person unless the doll is actually destroyed or, accidentally broken. But, dolls have been passed down for generations and generations. So, none of us that are collectors ever really, we're just going to be holding on to the doll for a brief period and then it's going to be moving on. Dolls are going to outlast us, if they're well cared for. So that's in some ways kind of interesting too, that they outlive us, the dolls, they're moving on. And, I've sold a lot of dolls that I've restored and sold them to people. And, and with each one, I would send it with best wishes. I would send a note with the doll and saying, she's been well loved and cared for. She's been restored. And now, it's your chance to take care of her because it is a responsibility, that, if you're going to buy something that costs you money, because the dolls I deal with are in the hundreds of dollars, and that there tend to be more expensive dolls, and people are going to take care of them because they have value and they've invested money in them. So you just hope that nothing that passes on from you is going to be with anything other than positive intentions. But as I said, when people try to do the other way, you might be hurting yourself more than if you think you're putting the intent into the doll to make it where you're cursing somebody. And I find that the people that are actually doing maybe the curse or doing the bad mojo or the voodoo, you don't know what's going to happen to them because it's karma. It's going to come back to you that you're trying to hurt somebody else through a doll, and what's going to happen to you then? It's going to happen back to you that maybe the bad intentions are going to happen. So you have to tread carefully. These are not objects to be fooling around with, and they are toys in some ways, but they have been treated in a way where they can do other than being something that was meant to be of comfort and a toy for enjoyment and entertainment. Now it's becoming something else. So it's whatever a person wants to do. It's always the intent behind it, and what happens from there.
Based on my shaman background, dolls would be a personification of their own spirit, and it takes I would like to think a positive intent to bring it to life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a representation of an ideal, or I would say even a desire of what to be, which would also probably account for the popularity of Barbie. Although for a woman to really look like Barbie would be really weird. Okay?
Yeah.
Proportions and everything, that's not a real woman, guys. You got to bring it down to some sort of, anyway. And you mentioned the, now how did you pronounce that again? That box.
The Dubrox box?
The Dubox, yes.
Dubox or Dubox?
That was one of the haunted items, haunted items that I was going to bring in. I've seen many stories. It was a weird story, and that seemed to be the centerpiece of what was going on, and someone actually took the responsibility of finding out what it was about and keeping it where no one else would be harmed. Now, getting back to haunted items and Annabelle in particular, I find it interesting. Now, and going back to The Conjuring, where Ed and Lorraine Warren had kept Annabelle in its little case, and all the other haunted items that they come across, I find it interesting that someone maintained the family tradition under the name of John Zappis, the haunted collector.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's his.
They were his. They were. He's their nephew.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know when I watched his show. Then, it was mentioned. I go, oh, okay. Now I see the connect, because they're both in Connecticut. And he has his own, museum of
he has his own collection.
Of collection, yeah. And I mean, now Lorraine, she's still alive, and I guess she still maintains the occult museum or whatever it's called, the collection museum in Connecticut where Annabelle is. They do say that they bring a priest in twice a month to bless all the objects in the museum, because I was wondering how that's not the most haunted place in the world if you've got collection of all these crazy objects that they've encountered in all their investigations. I don't know how I would want to live in a house where you have that huge collection of strange objects, right near you. I find that really kind of that's brave of them to have this museum, next to where I guess they live. But but she's supposedly, Annabelle's in her glass case, and that's where she stays. And, I don't know if there's been any activity associated with it since, with the movie, because this was back in the 1970s when, The Conjuring took place, which a lot of people, with the Annabelle movie, I don't think they actually showed a date. And my son asked me, he said, why is everything all vintage with the TV shows? I said, well, this is the 1960s. This is happening. He said, well, they didn't say the date at the beginning of the movie. Now in The Conjuring, they say 1970 or something, but in I think it's supposed to be late 60s. The actual Annabelle was supposed, because that was before The Conjuring. That it's the prequel. And they're talking about the Annabelle doll. But I don't know. I find it a little hard, Hank, that they showed it in the Annabelle movie how possibly this doll was, a conduit or having the possession from this demon. And I don't know how they would have been able to show that with the Raggedy Ann doll. Like with this Bisque, well, it's supposed to be Bisque's doll, but she's not really Bisque. She's like a carved doll. But, they show how, some of these energy gets into the doll. But I would find that hard to believe with the Raggedy Ann doll. They wouldn't be able to show that, if it was the real doll because of the circumstances of how they showed this energy flowing into the doll. So, I don't know how much has been made up for the movie or how much is really true for the doll itself.
Well, first off, and I understand the reason why they wouldn't show the real Annabelle, because look at the marketing structure and all the stories and beloved feelings for Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the only other word I can think of would be horrendous for its reputation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, it's nothing to think of Chucky running down the road with his little knife in his hand, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right? It's because we've become, I want to say, numb to such ideals.
Yeah.
I mean, to come up with the bride of Chucky and the kid of Chucky. Come on.
Oh yeah. Well, they do say that the Annabelle doll was, an inspiration for Chucky. See, Hollywood has picked up on this with tremendous gusto. It dates from when you have Twilight Zone episodes with Talkie Tina, a doll that it becomes alive to this little girl, and because the little girl's she's being abused by her stepfather, and so Talkie Tina comforts her. And then you have also there was another ventriloquist doll in a Twilight Zone episode that I think Cliff Robertson was the actual supposed to be the entertainer, and then you had this crazy, and so all these other people saw these shows and got the ideas, and then you have Chucky, and you have Annabelle, and you have the clown that was in Poltergeist. I mean, Hollywood knows a good thing when they see it, so they have, I think, perpetuated more and more has been with Hollywood versions. We've become numb because of the slasher aspect of what Chucky did and the Bride of Chucky. I mean, these are horrific looking things, and we're almost like you're laughing at some of this stuff, but this is what makes money, and this is what Hollywood is continuing now. Annabelle's a new incarnation. This is the newest, and now I hear that they're trying to make Annabelle dolls like the one that was in the movie. That people are on the doll sites now and say, "Oh, I'm getting my own Annabelle doll." Whatever, hey, if you want a creepy looking doll, go right ahead and see whatever they can make money on. It's all about that too.
I may be ordained, but I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Yeah, someone needs some help on that one. Let me tell you.
Yeah. It's they just keep. Well, I mean, when they saw the popularity of the Conjuring movie, people, because Annabelle wasn't really in the Conjuring movie that much. It was touched on, and then this the producer of the movie saw that, hey, you know what, we've got a marketing thing here. We could do a prequel. From what I understand, I heard an interview with Andrea Perron, the original family that The Conjuring is based on, their experiences, and I heard an interview, and she talked about how things were much worse than they showed in the Annabelle or the Conjuring movie. She said they couldn't show all of it because they wouldn't have been able to get, they wanted a PG-13, but they actually went to an R rating, and they couldn't do anything but, he did not want to have an R-rated movie, but they said, what you're showing here has to stay R-rated. And she said, I don't know what kind of a rating we would have gotten if we showed the really horrific things that went on, with our real life. So, it's partly with, this man taking a doll that was more, of the kindly nature, and, that Raggedy Ann was, handmade by a woman who, made it for one of her children originally. A lot of dolls were originally made by people who did something for their own children, and then because other people wanted the same doll, then they would then manufacture these. There's been several women that were entrepreneurs that started their own Raggedy Ann dolls or dolls of that type of quality, and, they went on to make, small fortunes with toy companies from just really making up their own doll for their child, and then, more people wanted it. So, so the Annabelle doll, we don't know, I really don't know how much is of, been actually added on, where until Lorraine Warren actually maybe says what really happened with that doll, you're just seeing from other people who owned it, like the college students or whatever. But I still find it hard to believe that you would buy a doll that they showed in the movie, and that's what I have in my blog, that I was like laughing at this. I go, if anybody gave me a doll that looked like that, I would have not only thrown the doll out and then the person with it. Like, you must not think very much of me that you want to give me such a horrible looking present, because it's so horrible looking. And then, which I find even more incredible, the doll goes through a lot of hardship in the movie, and then, then somebody else is going to buy it. Oh, it's exactly what my daughter's been wanting. Like, what kind of doll was your daughter wanting that looks like this, that, is supposed to be kind of a special, one-of-a-kind doll? It's like, I find that hard to believe, because nobody would want to buy something that looks like that, that would give you nightmares, and, give that to you as a present. So there's some things, it's a real stretch in some ways. When I saw the movie, I thought it was done well. People criticized it, but I thought I didn't know what to expect, but I thought the acting and the way they presented it was done in a really good manner. But it's based on the story, but it's not all, it's not all true. They change things around, make it, for Hollywood. So, it would be interesting to go see the Annabelle doll for real, at the museum in Connecticut, and see, what kind of energy you get from it, or if you feel like if you look at it in the glass case, what feeling you really get from it.
You have to figure, okay, people could not handle what really happened.
Yeah.
And they couldn't portray it accurately enough.
That's true. That's what they mentioned. They said it would have been, they wouldn't have been able to film all that did go on, and that in itself is a really scary prospect, to see what the family really did go through, and it was worse than what was shown in the actual movie. So that's that would be, that in itself is, more of a story that would be terrifying for people than the actual doll in so many ways. Yes.
Okay, you are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting from Buffalo, New York. And we're going to break. You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.
Okay, everybody, we are back and we are talking about haunted dolls and items, Annabelle and Robert, and I just want to bring up movies, the Hollywood thing as you was talking about, they change things up, and for some reason they cannot just go by the original story. They have to ad lib and make it more exciting, because they want to bring in the millions of viewers and everything, because as you said earlier, Anita, it's about the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I will say that some Hollywood movies that portray stuff, and and I was talking in the chat room, me and Cheryl was kind of back and forth here. The Puppet Master movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now there was some creepy dolls, so to speak, puppets, whatever. Now, puppets are a form of a doll, right? You know what I mean? They have the doll head, the doll body, and you put your arm up their back and you make them talk, whatever.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And, of course, Hank brought up Hank Dunham, however you pronounce his name.
Jeff,
yes, not, okay.
Hank Dunham. Jeez.
Jeff Dunham.
You got Hank on the brain.
Ahmed is my hero now amongst his collection.
Oh, Ahmed the dead terrorist.
Yeah. Cause everything is, I kill you. But anyway, I just wanted to bring up about the puppets and everything. You have why couldn't you have a haunted puppet, say or a ventriloquist doll? If you had a puppeteer or whatever, whoever did the ventriloquism, worked with this doll for years and years and years and years, and then he passed away, would not some of his energy be stored in this ventriloquist doll?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know if there was an episode in Twilight Zone, it was called, the dummy, his name was Willie, and that's exactly what
I remember that, yes.
Yeah, where Cliff Robertson is Jerry, he's the entertainer, and he's got this, he's a really creepy looking, mannequin, I mean, this ventriloquist doll, Willie, and what happened is Willie starts taking over and tells, his master what to do.
Right.
What you're saying about Puppet Master. I mean, puppets and mannequins and wax figurines also fall under the heading of, haunted types of objects. I mean, look at the horror movie, The Wax Museum, where they come to life. These are full-sized, people, that were represented. You're not talking about little tiny dolls now. We're talking about full length, which is even more scary. The idea of that seeing a figure that's posed and supposed to stay frozen, and then at night these things come alive, and actually with the ventriloquists or the puppets, they, you have people that carve these puppets and, put their own energy into them, and that has also been a source, I think, of legends and also haunted tales of mannequins and puppets and, and these figurines that also can be vehicles, for the energy and for the spirits to manipulate, and these are all, I think what it does, it touches on our worst fears. These are things that we wonder about, when you see an inanimate object, and then you like in your peripheral vision, like, did I see that thing move? That's always in the back of your mind, like, is this really just, an inanimate object, or can this possibly, animate at night, like when kids think at night that their toys come alive, in Toy Story or these things, that when you're asleep at night, your toys actually interact, and they have fun. Who's to say?
Right.
These are all things that, it's a great imagination for people, but it sticks with you when you're seeing it on the big screen or on TV. I mean, I had a girl emailed me and she said, do you remember this trilogy of terror that was on television with Karen, I think Gina Davis or Karen Black. She just passed away. last year. Yeah, and it was that Zulu doll that she had. That she gets this crate and she opens it up, and it's this like what foot high figurine from Africa, or
yeah.
and he's got the spear, and this thing came alive, and it's chasing her all around her apartment. There's people that told me, they said they never got that image. They were scared to death after seeing that and could not sleep for like weeks after, thinking that this Zulu doll or this voodoo doll was coming, and what it does is, it was a 3-part where it was the beginning, and then they had, where it actually went on to the next person. But this thing just gets sent to you from like nowhere, where I don't know if it was an uncle who was in Africa, and he decides to send her this thing in the crate, and I don't know if it was to get back at her, but then she uses it to get after her mother. So it's like what we are doing to project our own like fears or anger or control over these smaller things, that we're trying to see what we can do. And it's all about what people feel out of control, that you feel like you don't have much say or do, but you can tell a doll what your fears are, or you can order the doll around, or dress the doll, or feed the doll. It's an idea of control, I think, a mechanism too, that, we want to be or something, and that's why Puppet Master is so crazy, because the puppets become they take over, where they're more powerful than the actual person who was, made them, and it's, it's a great, it's a great stories, and it's all entertainment supposedly, and then it gets out of hand.
You were talking about the wax museum, and made me think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Them coming to life or whatever at night. And of course, in the wax museum, they were all murderers and really evil beings when they were alive, and then they just made wax replicas of them. Could you imagine in a reality where those kind of things did come to life at night?
See, this is what makes people. That's what gives them the creeps. When you go into a wax museum, you see that they look so realistic. And that's the great skill of the artist and a person that knows their anatomy and making these things so lifelike. But that's I think where we're so fearful. These things represent us. And in a different reality. And given the circumstance, coming alive and maybe doing an evil deed, or to accomplish the thing that was undone, and that's going to be fit. Because that's what a voodoo and these other dolls are. I mean, it's for you to be able to, I'm going to curse this doll because I can't get to you, but I'm going to do this to the doll. And if you own the doll, then it'll finish you off.
Right. It also reminded me of a little on the comical side, episode of Gilligan's Island, where they were digging the well and they dug up the doll or the wooden statue.
Okay.
And the skipper was freaking out. He said it was Kuna or something, some god or something, and he started having all that bad luck because Kuna was cursing him.
It's like a tiki god. The tiki.
Yeah.
They're strange looking because they're exaggerated features. I mean, and that's also with a doll too. Dolls tend to be exaggerated, like their eyes could be bigger than normal, or they have an idealized look to them because they want to be appealing to people. But if you look back on I've seen some really fantastic art creations that people have done with dolls, and they're amazing, like what they come up with, whether they are in the the genre of like dead looking dolls or gothic looking things. We're talking about ones that are created, these one of a kind or special collector's items, not ones that have been torn apart and then restitched to make them look like Frankenstein dolls, but people that actually do, there's G.I. Joe. Look at G.I. Joe. That's for young boys and people not to feel creepy that, hey, she's got a Barbie doll and I've got a G.I. Joe doll. So the G.I. Joe was to make up, what the sisters had the Barbie, so now the brother can have G.I. Joe. And again, it's representing what they want to put their fantasy into, and making them look manly, or putting them in uniform, or doing all these different things that they could never dream of doing. And it's all about what you're expressing and what you're putting out. And that what Hank said is trying to put out more of the positive than the negative. And that's where I think people get into the real problem, when something inadvertently becomes possessed or haunted or cursed, through whatever means, because maybe the spirit is unrestful, or a child died before their time, and the doll, was left, and the child passed on, and then the doll might have remnants of that child's spirit lingering with it. I mean, it's hard to say. Every circumstance is different. There really isn't an average. Everything has its own place with each individual object, in each individual doll case. But you can see a theme going through what's happening today, in today's world. More than ever, it's become acceptable, with the paranormal. The community is out there. People can come forward and talk about they've got an object that they think is haunted. They would never maybe say that before because they figure people are not going to believe them. I mean, I myself have my literary agent. She's convinced, and she talks about a haunted mirror that she has. And she was given this mirror. Her friend was moving and gave her this old mirror. And she says it's just the strangest thing. She actually has it wrapped up and put in an attic that she doesn't even want to open the packing up, because when she did have it out, she was getting this really weird stuff going on in her house. So what she did was pack it all up and then put it away. And she said, I don't even want to sell or give this mirror to someone else because I don't want them to have, the kinds of paranormal stuff that I've been dealing with. So she's taken the responsibility of holding on to this mirror, but she really doesn't know what to do with it. And I told her, I said, well, maybe you should sell it online. If somebody wants to buy it because it's a haunted mirror, then let them take the responsibility. But she hasn't done that. She's afraid to, what she has to do with this thing. So until she can get this item maybe blessed, or maybe say where it's not activated anymore, she's kind of stuck with this thing. That was, And how about the people that are left things handed down from other family members you have no control over, and it tends to be something that's not all right with the object. You have no
hope that they tell you about it before you get it.
Yeah, exactly. And it does that, and it could be a piece of jewelry too that could be invoked with emotion. If people have a locket or a necklace or a piece of jewelry that they feel had, because that's right next to your skin. That's going to be getting a lot of energy, involved in it too. Especially the certain metals that it is, or the stones that are in the actual makeup of the jewelry. There's like so much that goes in with this that, like if a piece of jewelry has a porcelain, maybe links in it, or has these crystal stones in it, that's not much different than what goes into a porcelain doll, because porcelain's made from clay and quartz and other types of minerals that are mixed together, then fired at a high degree to make it solid, into a porcelain shell. So, you're getting it of the earth. Materials are coming from the earth, just like the stones. So that's why I figured, when Toby mentioned, porcelain dolls, I find that they probably are maybe the best retainers because of the actual properties that make up the material, and how much it is related to stone and iron and, minerals and things, that's all part of the earth materials, and gathering this up. No, that's right.
Anita Joe, did you hear another female voice in the background anywhere?
No.
Okay, they were asking, and I didn't know if you saw it or not, but in the chat room, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Toby says that what he heard was she needs more room for her dolls.
Huh. Yeah, I do. I do. I have about 30 dolls that my deceased friend left me that are from the Franklin Mint and different, these collector associations, and they are of time periods like Nefertiti and Cleopatra. And I've got them all stored because I don't have any room to put them around. And my friend might not like the idea that they're still packed from when I got them 5 years ago, that I have not been able to display them because I don't have the room. Because they're some of them are 2 and 3 feet tall. Some of these dolls they're magnificent, and they were from the Franklin Mint, so you know that they were really high quality. And but that's they're telling me that I've had things while I've been on other programs that they talk about dolls when I'm on. They make comments. The spirits will make a comment about the dolls, about what I have. But that's true.
Well, one thing that can be an explanation, okay? One that can be an explanation. When I was younger, before I understood who and what I am as far as my psychic nature goes, the old farmhouse was an old haunted house. And we had regular visitors, okay, or visitors in the upstairs rooms because it was 2-story. I could not get to sleep. The energy was so strong. And there was these stories of a certain Raggedy Ann doll that came, Raggedy Ann or Raggedy Andy. Oh, God, that just dawned on me. What are we talking about? Anyway, nobody else saw the ironic humor in that. Okay.
I did.
Anyway,
Well, actually, I did, but I was keeping my mouth shut.
So was I.
Anyway, these supposedly came from some old country in Europe. I'm not exactly sure. And supposedly the material that they're made with, they would go up in smoke. They were that flammable.
Oh, okay.
And
Celluloid. They're made of flammable material.
Do you remember that back in the late '60s, mid '60s?
Yeah. There was a material that they banned coming into this country. The things were made of very, very flammable material, that with a petroleum base. Some of them were like a celluloid or another type of material that were not fireproof, and they were very, really dangerous. Having them in this country.
Anyway, with those visits that were coming in, it made a good excuse to explain to my parents at the time that they, since they weren't really ready to tell us about ghosts and other things of that nature, it made a good excuse to explain why I couldn't sleep. So thinking in that vein, how many other people are picking up that are sensitive or psychic in any form, like Toby, a psychic medium, are picking up on energies from the other side, and it's got to do with the doll. A thought process there.
Well, it could be where a doll would be used as something that would be a receptacle or a conduit, like the Annabelle doll, because that's what people don't understand, that the doll actually is not really possessed, that she's actually something that another force, a supernatural being, is using for its advantage and is working through the doll. Like the doll itself, like there's different areas where either a doll can be possessed or cursed or being used as a byproduct of something more sinister. And I think there could even be where the doll would be a communicative type of a device from the other side to be able to reach other people. Now, whether it's going to be a good thing or a bad thing, most religious organizations would be aghast at the idea that you would talk to a doll and the doll is going to be a receptacle for the other, for beyond this world. But that could be, almost like what you say with a Ouija board. Like a Ouija board is a conduit, for getting messages. And apparently some of these haunted dolls, Hank, I guess, could be considered that they're a message vehicle, from the other side. But you don't know if you're being tricked by more of a demonic type of presence to make you think that, I feel sorry, the doll would belong to this dead child. I mean, the child died, and now this is a child's spirit. My point is, do we know that spirit is a child spirit or is actually being imitated, and it's being used for a demonic, way of getting into a person to get them, sympathetic to their agenda. That's what you have to be really careful too.
So basically what you're saying is they're not possessed so much as they are imbued with an energy, whether negative or positive.
I think that's one way the dolls can be, either misconstrued or understood. There are actually, some dolls they say are haunted. They say some dolls are cursed. Because there is a difference between something going into the doll that is just a byproduct of the length of time it belonged to an owner, or is it being passed down? It's actually residual energy, and it's maybe a positive thing because it's a beloved object that's been in the family for many, many generations. Or there could be where something so horrific happened around near this doll that, negative energy went into it, and it's being going to harm other people that come in contact with the doll. But also, like in the case of Annabelle, that doll never moved. That doll never moved on its own. They kept showing shots of the doll, which I thought was interesting in the movie, that you figured, well, I'm waiting for this doll's eyes to be shifting over or the head to move, and it never did. And that's because the doll never was possessed or haunted. It actually was the conduit of this demonic spirit that wanted to get close to the people in the Perrin family, that there was something more going on beyond the Annabelle doll itself, and it's the negative stuff associated with the doll, that's what they keep trying to tell people to distinguish between what's actually happening. Now when you have a voodoo doll, that's created for the purpose of going to curse somebody, or you want to harm or do bad intent to that person. That's the only reason why you're making this particular object. You're putting pins in it, so there's many ways that a doll could be used, or the doll becomes something else than what it originally was. So there's a couple different things that can happen with the doll. It's not just one or the other. There's about 3 or 4 different things that that I think when you were doing your studying too, that's why you have 14 pages. You're telling me there's so much to
There's so much, yes.
And that's just touching the surface. I mean, as I said, there's thousands of websites that are dealing with, this phenomenon, of dolls and getting into the history and seeing these islands where these creepy dolls are hanging from trees. And actually on TV shows, they're showing more. They're actually picking up on the trend of the season. So you're going to see more TV shows, I think, using a doll as a haunted object or something that fits in, because that's what's popular right now, and they're going to use that theme maybe more. You're going to see more movies, I think, about haunted dolls or possessed dolls, because that's, if it works for one movie and it makes a successful run, then, someone else is going to come up with the same kind of theme. So I think we're going to see the whole trend of haunted objects and haunted dolls, because the Dibrox box was called The Possession. That was last year. The movie was called The Possession. They changed it around, but the basic idea was, and it was based on a book of that same name, the Dibrox box, that a gentleman, I think University of Michigan Press, actually published the book, only from all his research, from seeing things on eBay and seeing the story going on, that he did the research. I never even knew there was anything like that belonged in the Jewish culture. That was completely a very, very educational and really eye-opening to see that, that the Jewish people have their own words for demonic stuff, because it's just not something that you hear often. If you're brought up in a Christian tenet, you're not hearing about what the Jewish people believe, or you only hear very, very minimal. And I did not know about, some of this, which was just fascinating, to understand some of this, goes with the culture of, the Hebrew people, and what they've encountered. So it's, their religion is older than Christianity. So I would think they would have more demons and more stuff going on in some of their literature that, we would never even dream about unless you study their books, So that was fascinating to know about that box.
What about cursed dolls?
Okay. Well, a curse doll, it's basically what that you're deliberately doing something, Roger, because from my research, because I was trying to distinguish when I was trying to write different things for people and letting them know, when they're asking me, and I said, well, the idea is, you can actually take the name of a person that you want to curse, and some of these ancient things that they used to do was actually get this clay figure of a doll. The doll would maybe look like the person they're trying to harm, and then actually write maybe in a little clay, a little tablet next to the doll with the person's name and the curse that they're actually saying, may you never be fruitful and multiply, or your family's going to die out, or you're never going to be wealthy. So you're actually inscribing or bringing the intent to this object or doll or whatever and cursing it, then to pass that, then to give that to the person for them to receive harm. So there is all the matter of what you're planning to do with this, just like the voodoo doll. When you have a curse doll and a voodoo doll, they're very, very similar because, the whole idea is that you're asking to perform harm or evil intent or ill wishes, to somebody. So you can, if you want to go ahead and do that, but then, take the consequences, that you want to curse something, and how about you getting cursed back, at the same point. So.
Toby?
Well, Anita, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You have two really kind of unique special dolls to you, correct?
I have, yeah, well, I have one that was from my friend, that is this, this Peruvian mummy doll, and then I have quite a few other dolls that are kind of special to me because I've restored them. But the one thing I'm thinking in particular, it's not so much of a doll, but we just recently kind of came across a figurine that's maybe not presenting very good energy surrounding it. So I've been told to get rid of it. So I'm in the process of seeing what we can do with this figurine and see what we can put it out of its misery or get rid of it because it's not doing us very good over here. So.
Hey guys, I have to let you know that we're going to be taking a break, and I
Okay.
have to do some call letters here. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll be going into a break. You're listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting from Buffalo, New York.
Okay, we're back, everybody. We're talking
And we're
about
continuing.
dolls still, and cursed, haunted, whatever. They're just dolls that aren't normal. And if you can't be normal,
Well, we're more
okay.
than paranormal, let me tell you. But anyway, moving along.
I had to do that. I'm sorry. It says, have you tried a neck collar? Neck collar?
Color.
Color. What do you mean neck color?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, Ed, you lost me there.
Yeah. Okay.
It goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like I said, I'm seeing 2 glass cases, one in the bedroom, one in a different room. But there's 2 dolls in these glass cases that have, I'm going to say they got more meaning to them than anything.
Yeah, that's true. There's one doll is very special, and then I guess the one I have one it's up in my bedroom. I restored. She was in very, very bad shape, and I knew from just looking at her that she was a rarer doll, and was able to restore her with a lot of attention and a lot of hours, and then had a custom made dress made for her from a lady out in New Mexico. So that's when I look at her, I marvel at her beauty and how I was able to bring it. You know, her face was cracked in half, and I was able to restore her. And I feel, every time I look at her, I'm really proud of the job I did on her. And absolutely love that doll.
Well, the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm hearing. Well, she still has the one I gave to her, and the other one is absolutely wonderful. She slaved over it.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if that's my mom. My mom is the one who gave me the christening doll. I had that. And the other one, she knew what I was doing with that, how much work I did on that, and yeah.
And then going back to the comment earlier, she needs more room.
Yeah, that's right.
And a chuckle,
too, but not for dolls.
Yeah, and a chuckle with that too. Like, you have totally ran out of room to put any more.
Well, yeah, that's why I've had to curb my collecting. I actually had to stop. I have a few projects left that I have to do for a rare. I just got a rare China doll head, but I'm looking for a body and an outfit that I could put her together. But I've actually stopped buying projects, putting them together because I don't have the time, but also don't have the room. You're right, Toby.
Well, what's okay? Here's going to come a question. Have you been talking about expanding?
It's only in the way of my son having the store that I've been kidding him and threatening him that I'll bring my dolls to the store, and he said, "Don't you dare!" He has like 10,000 miniatures he has to put in the store, so he doesn't have any room for my dolls.
Well, to believe it or not, I mean, this is what I'm hearing in the background of your voice. Expand, do it.
Yeah, well, I think all in due time. This has been a dream for us to do the store. It's been 10 years in our dream to do this, and now we are doing it, and it's all coming about within a short amount of time. It's been wonderful. But it's to showcase my son's fantastic talent with these miniatures and the set designs and the things that he does. And, I think I'll be maybe going along with it. I'll be, selling my books at the store, but also I'm going to be able to reach out to people who want me to do doll restoration. If they come in and bring, if it's a husband who's buying stuff for himself, and his wife comes with him, and geez, so I wish I had somebody who could fix my dolls while I'm the person for you. I could do that too. So it might happen in the future. Expand. We have to start from what we're doing right now. We didn't even launch yet the store, and but it's just going to be really fantastic because it's something that I wanted to do for my son, and now it showcases his talents. And he's really talented person.
You got 4 boxes full of dolls?
I have 30 boxes of individual dolls that are just packed in my basement that belong to my friend that I had no idea he had that many dolls. When I was executor of his estate, I knew he had bought some for his anthropological lectures, but had no idea he collected that many. So I've got I've got boxes of other stuff. I have about 100 boxes of artifacts that I have not been able to get through recently that he left me, and it's just I don't have the time. I have to go through all these things.
All right, because I'm only seeing 4 boxes right now that you've actually gone through.
I have a couple. I have a couple boxes in my bedroom with dolls in them. Yeah, they're small. Yeah, there's a couple boxes that I just packed away.
Yeah, they're not very big. I mean, they're only I want to say like a medium-sized U-Haul box.
There's a couple of small boxes that that I just have stored because I have no room to display them. That they're just there's like some little doll furniture mixed in, and the dolls themselves. There's a couple boxes that are just there, that I haven't been able. They're things I've restored or packed away until I can finish the project. I haven't been able to finish it, so I just put it away for the time being.
Well, now this is going to sound silly. What's up with this and actually talking to him as you restore him?
What was that?
What's up with this and talking to the dolls as you restore them?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I talk to them because it's really strange because I only started restoring dolls because of my sculpture and painting background. Somebody asked me they said, why don't you try it? And when I started restoring the dolls, it was like I've been doing it forever. It came to me so naturally to fix these dolls, and I'm able to do things that people did not believe you could do with dolls, that I definitely believe that I must have the genes in me from somewhere. Somebody was a doll maker or something. I mean, I know I got the genes of my grandmother who used to do hand sewing because I could sew doll clothes, and I just do it naturally. I don't have any training in that, and I could just make doll clothes and hand sew these things with antique materials, and I just do it. I don't even know where it comes from. And restoring dolls, it's just a second nature to me. It's like I took to this so fantastic, and I do things to restore them that other people didn't even realize you could do these things. So I don't know.
Now you own a couple. There's like 3 Russian dolls you have.
Yeah, I have a couple Russian dolls. Yeah.
2 you've actually restored, and 1 is in a box.
I'm
putting you on the spot here, aren't I?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think because I've got things put away. I have a doll. Let me see. I have a couple that are just out that my friend left me. He used to give me dolls for when he used to go to Europe. He used to just buy them by the box full and then give me like a whole box of dolls at Christmas, because he knew I love these things, and he would go to the flea markets in Germany and in his travels and buy me these dolls, and just bring them back to me. But I've got let me see. Mostly they're German. They're not Russian. I have a couple that are German that are put away that I'm trying to work on, restore, because there's not too many Russian things that I have, even in the travels. But I don't know. So is there a connection to this, Toby?
Well, you kind of nailed it right on the head at the get-go. You said your mom?
Yeah.
And she's passed, correct?
Yeah, she has, yeah.
And she had the same passion as you did, or she got you going into this?
She supported me. She never had dolls when she was growing up, but she made sure when I started collecting dolls, I'd always get one for Christmas, be special, that she would have me pick out from a catalog, or if I wanted, she would just make sure I had a doll every Christmas. That, you know, I always found one under the Christmas tree, a doll.
Was there one that you got for Christmas but you lost it?
Actually, I got it for Christmas, and a neighbor's kid ripped the head off the doll. He ripped it, and so we had to get rid of it.
Okay, lost. It's similar to that. I'm trying to see this because this is happening real fast here. I mean, super fast. There is there one on your dining room table?
Right next to.
That's propped up.
Yeah. I've got a doll in my dining room. I actually have two that I just fixed. They're sitting in a chair right next to my dining room table. They were on the dining room table when I took pictures of them before and after. They were standing on a doll. They were on a doll stand. One is an antique doll that I just restored, and one happens to be a doll. You're gonna hate me for this. This doll was at the store in the basement. The store that we are renting now. This doll was in a case in the basement, and the tenants said to me, I said, "What are you doing with a doll down here?" And it was like a Nutrisystem. They were a health organization. And she said, "Well, somebody gave me this doll, and we were supposed to give it for Toys for Tots at Christmas, last Christmas, but the doll was kind of dirty. It came from the attic, so we didn't have the heart to tell the old man that the doll, we weren't going to give this out to anybody because she was in pretty soiled condition." So I see this doll in the case in the basement, and I said, "Gee, Rose, would you mind if I took the doll?" She goes, "No, if you want it, I'm going to throw it out." Well, I brought the doll home and cleaned her all up, and she's a Franklin Mint heirloom doll. She was an expensive doll, but the case needs to be cleaned up. But she was in really bad. Oh, she was so filthy dirty. But I washed her clothes, and she was bisque, and I washed her hair, and I cleaned her all up, and she and she looks really beautiful now. And my son said, "You're not bringing that doll home, are you, from the basement?" I go, "Yeah, what of it?" He said, "I'm glad I don't live in your house." So I took the doll. Yeah, she's propped up. Yeah, she's a cute little doll.
Okay, now here's another thing. I'm being shown that you're actually taking curlers and recurling the hair.
I've done that on a Shirley Temple doll. I redid you sit by watching TV and curling the doll's hair. Yeah, I've done that on some of the doll wigs. Yeah, I go to full measure. I mean, when I get immersed in restoring a doll, like stay out of my way. I'm just going to go from beginning to end to get this doll done and fix it. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's going. I can't believe she's sitting here doing this with curlers.
Yeah.
Well, you could do it with a pencil.
Yeah, with the pencil to get the little tight corkscrew curls. Oh yeah. Take the pencil and wrap the hair around with dippity-doo to make it really stiff, and then put the bobby pins or the little. I actually got doll curlers I bought on eBay and used them on the doll's hair. You know, little tiny curlers that are made for that. And yeah, but gee, Toby, if you're really good, there's a really unusual. I just fixed the doll, and I'm wondering if you. There was a really unusual thing that I used to fix this doll's teeth. I wonder if you picked that up, how I made the doll's teeth.
You really want to go there?
Yeah. Well, because my girlfriend looked at the doll is made of a really rare. She's a celluloid. They used to do them at Bisque, but then they started making it unbreakable. And she's from Germany. She has the glass eyes, but she's missing her teeth. So, being that she was of the plastic or this composition material, I couldn't use regular porcelain to redo the doll's teeth because the glue might harm the composition. So I had to I took these teeth. I took a plastic spoon. You know the little tiny spoons you get from Rita's Water Ice for sample water ice, the little itty bitty spoons. So I took part of the curved area of the plastic spoon and and broke that into a bridge of teeth and painted the teeth on the plastic and glued it in. And my girlfriend said, I can't believe these are really good, these teeth, from a little tiny plastic spoon.
I was just going to say it's not the original material. It was plastic, right?
Yeah, it's a plastic. Yeah.
So you actually sat and took the time and painted each tooth in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my word. What? I'm seeing a total stuffed doll now. She's showing me a stuffed doll. Do you still have that total stuffed doll?
Is it a stuffed doll?
Yeah.
Well, I have a Raggedy Ann. That's probably my only stuffed doll. But what's it's unusual because some of the stuffed dolls, they are all stuffed, the bodies and even the arms and legs, but the heads are the porcelain or the china. So some of the bodies are made of straw or horsehair or sawdust, and they're stuffed. And so there are stuffed dolls, but then the heads tend to be made of the harder material, that they're placed. Well, I got a body that was all stuffed, and I had bought that and actually fit this China doll head, the Civil War China doll head that I fixed on the body, and she's pretty big. She sits on a chair. She's about 30 inches tall. But the head was amazing. I got it so cheap because the neck was broken, and I just resculpted the whole neck and the shoulder plate and fixed it. I just love it. It's like a passion for me to be able to fix these dolls. I just absolutely love to do this kind of thing. And that's why I said when you're truly involved with the history of the dolls and knowing what went into these things, that's why I said I can never be afraid of any of my dolls, because they're done with such love and passion and my collecting that they're so well loved that they would be biting the hand that feeds them, so to say. If they didn't want to behave, they better behave because I cherish them all.
What's up with the one in the high chair?
Let's see. She's not in a high chair. She's in kind of like a really unique Egyptian chair. She's in a chair like an older it's an Egyptian revival chair that she's sitting.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I've not seen the front plate now. It's all I've seen is this really big chair and a doll sitting on it. Like, this is your chair. You belong here. You enjoy it. And it's almost like you use those exact words.
Well, yeah, because I purposely set the whole vignette with her sitting on this chair that she's on there, and then she has a little stuffed doll that that's right, she's got a stuffed doll. She's a stuffed doll that, it's so unique because she's a China doll, Civil War doll, but she's holding a little black rag doll, so she's actually, instead it's reverse mammy, where she's the white lady taking care of the little black baby, which is so adorable, and then her little black stuffed doll has a little doll in its pocket, so it's like three dolls that are together. And I just love that idea that this white German porcelain doll has the little black rag doll in her hand during the Civil War, and it was just kind of a reverse kind of thing, that who's caring for who. And she's in my special Egyptian area in my room, that she's on the Egyptian chair, and I got my King Tut stuff near there, and because I'm a freak on Egypt and King Tut and all that kind of stuff. I love that stuff. So it's everything I have in my home is just a reflection of me and everything I love. My paintings, my artwork, my dolls, my books, my artifacts. It's the resident ghosts that are here, I don't think they ever want to leave because they're too comfortable here. they like being here.
What's up? There's one doll that's showing frustration. You had frustration over it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think which one. I had to put her aside until I could actually fix her better. That she's put aside because I have to go back and refix her because I don't like the way she came out. So she's glued, but I'm gonna have to boil her. I have to boil the porcelain to get the glue out and redo it again.
Oh no! Yeah, because let's put it this way. This is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing frustration over this one doll and it's been going on for years. And it's like almost like
Yeah,
telling
yeah.
this poor doll has gone through hell and back.
Well, the poor doll, she was so broken, and I fixed her a long time ago before I got to be more expert at fixing dolls, and I used a glue that I wasn't happy with, and now that I could go back, I go, oh, I would fix this so differently now. So I put her aside because, like, just the idea of taking her all apart because she's got in so many pieces, but I'll eventually do that one of these days. I'll be doing it.
Well, okay. I'm gonna ask you one last question. You
Okay.
got a doll with a pull string,
Yeah, I do.
and that one, when you got it, it was almost like a pride and joy thing.
Yeah.
Is it still in great condition?
Yeah, because it was an older doll, and it was like kind of like a pull string that the eyes go back and forth. It's actually I fixed it for a client, and then she is now willing it to me. This doll is a rare automaton baby doll, and I fixed it. It actually had like a pull, but then I have the key that winds it up. So after I fixed it, she's an elderly lady. She just told me that she's going to leave that to me if anything happens to her, and I was like shocked that because it's a really beautiful and it's a very rare doll. But she said you're the only ones ever going to appreciate. It was her doll when she was a little girl, so it's like that's coming to me at some point, and it's like, oh my gosh, I never thought I'd ever own a doll like that. You know, it's just so rare, and it's and the doll, the eyes move back and forth. They're on a special kind of timer and everything. It's just such a rare doll the way it's been made, and I just couldn't believe that she said she wanted to give that to me. If anything has happened in her will, to give it to me.
Now they move real slow in almost an opposite sync, correct?
Yeah, they go back and forth, like almost like a ticking clock. The eyes go back and forth.
Right.
And there's the original wind-up key, and it's in. I mean, I actually restored it, and the thing was so. I thought I was going to have a watchmaker fix the doll. I opened up the doll's head and was actually able to release the tension, and it went right back to the way it should be, where we could wind it up again, and the eyes went back and forth, and she couldn't believe that I fixed the doll. That and it was really. I used a little olive oil. Olive oil is good for anything. Just to kind of put it in the little cones, and the oil worked really well for it not to stick.
We got a call, guys.
All right.
Okay.
Caller?
Yeah. Is this Roger?
No,
this is Roger. That's Hank.
There's Roger.
Okay. This is Greg Hoffman calling from Iron Island Museum.
Hey, Greg,
bud.
how you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing good. Just got a group over here. They're doing their own things right now, and I'm sitting in the office just yakking. All right.
Have you been listening in?
No, not really, because I had to give a tour and everything, so I won't be able to stay on real long. But just want to, give you a call and say hi and everything, and let you know a few things that's been going on around here. So.
Well, cool.
But yeah.
They've been having experiences since they've been there.
Oh yeah. We've I had a group last time, and there was a few girls there, that were in the group, and they were down in the basement, and they kind of got pinched in the butt. There was two of them that got pinched.
Oh, gee.
And it was fantastic. It was something else. But yeah, we've been getting disembodied voices and EVPs, just the whole thing, So things are going pretty good over here.
Hey, Greg?
Yeah.
You have any dolls over there? In the museum?
Creepy dolls?
Yeah, just any dolls. But yeah, if they're creepy, that's a bonus.
Oh yeah, we got some creepy dolls around here. Why'd you ask that, Roger?
That's what we've been talking about.
Oh,
no, that's
really?
Hank that asked. That's Hank that asked there, bud.
Oh yeah. We got creepy dolls, and we got all kinds of. They set it up for Halloween too, because they're going to have the kids over for Beggars Night and stuff like that. So they got zombies and all kinds of stuff. These statues all over the place and creepy brides and stuff like that. So just adds to the ambiance a little bit,
Beggars Night.
Yeah.
That's another name for Halloween.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm behind the times.
Yeah. very few
Good
places
Lord,
have
as
their-
old as I am, I've never heard that.
Oh yeah, well this neighborhood here has been a tradition for years. So instead of Halloween night, they go the night before on Beggars Night. You know, when I was a kid, we used to do that too. So they got it all set up over here for that. But things are really going good here. So yeah, I got a group. There's 4 girls tonight there, so I'm waiting to hear some screaming right now.
I'm sure you probably will.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Just
But
remember
yeah,
to make
I'm
a
in my
recording
place
of it.
over. Pardon, Roger?
No, that's Hank.
Pardon?
What's that?
That's
I'm
Hank.
sorry.
I said make sure you get a recording of it. That'll be fun to listen to.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wish they'd do it right now so he could hear it. But,
yeah, you're as evil-minded as I am.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey, if you get a copy, you're going to have to post it on Facebook for me so I can listen to it.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, as far as creepy dolls, we used to have a doll one time that was really, really creepy. We used to call her Patty Cakes McCreepster, and she even had her own Facebook page and everything. You know?
Oh, jeez.
Patty Cakes McCreepster.
Yeah, she was something else. You know, when you walk down the hallway and when it was dark out, and you had to hit her with a flashlight, and many times as I seen her, she still gave me the creeps. So. But did you get a chance to see Annabelle yet, or no?
No, I want to, though. My daughter's wanting me to go watch it with her. I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I might wait till it comes out in DVD. I don't know. I'm trying to think about that, or should I go to the show to see it? But it really sounds pretty good, you know.
Well, you go to the show, and if you're lucky, everybody's quiet and you get to watch a movie. But if you're not lucky, you got 4 or 5 giggling crap wads sitting over there next to you and everything, carrying on. And
Oh, yeah. People throwing popcorn and jujubes and stuff
right.
like that, so. Yeah, of course,
And you just want to stand up and grab them by the collar and shake them real good. Shut up!
Yeah. Well, I was pretty good at that myself when I was a kid, and we used to go up in the balcony and throw popcorn boxes down.
Yeah, I can't really get too upset because, been there, done that.
No, we were all the same, so what the hell. But, yeah, so like I say, I'm hoping it's a good night tonight, though, too. The last few nights were pretty good, and we got a disembodied voice of some woman, and I think she was speaking in some kind of a foreign language.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe she was talking in tongues.
Oh my gosh, that's what I always get. I get the foreign language. That's what usually comes under when I'm on the air. You get the people with the foreign accents.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, you make a phone call, press 1 for English, you can't understand a word they're saying.
Oh, my God, yeah. Oh, yeah, when you have to call for, AOL was the worst, My God, I couldn't understand them at all, Jeez. If I could only speak their language, but I can't, so. But, yeah, but like I say, it's been pretty good over here, the same, we got Chip Coffey coming, too. He's going to be coming, I believe, on the 30th.
Yeah, we heard.
Yeah, so that's going to be good, too. They're going to be over. He's going to have one night here, and that's like a VIP night, and then he's going to be over at Buff State there.
Coming now, stop it.
Yeah, is Cindy there, too? Or Cindy on the line with you, too? Or?
Yeah, CJ's here.
I thought you were there. Hi, Cindy. Oh, doing good. Got a nice group here, and, taking care of business. I always tell Linda TCB, and the first time I told her that, I guess she wasn't an Elvis fan, So now she knows. But, I just want to give you a short call, and I know you guys probably got other calls and that coming in, but I just wanted to give you a call and let you know what's going on lately, so.
Hey, Greg?
Yeah.
Hey, have they hit the upstairs yet?
Are they what?
Have they hit the upstairs yet?
Oh, up in the attic there? Or?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hitting me upstairs.
Yeah, or have they hit the attic or the upstairs yet?
Yeah, they still, the spirit's hide up there, but nobody's allowed to go up there ever since the kid put his foot through the ceiling one time, so,
Yeah, I was gonna say, boy, your upstairs is just, I mean, busy right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know, the whole thing, like I say, the activity's really ramped up pretty good. It was quiet for a while during the summer. I don't know why. Well, now it's starting to ramp up a little bit. Must be the time of year or something.
Oh yeah. Well, the veil's thinner now. The veil's thinner this time of year up till All Souls Day, Halloween.
Oh
So
yeah, oh yeah. That's what
Actually,
I.
until Yule.
oh, is that right? Is that right, Hank? Yeah, that goes
Yeah.
up.
Up
Wow.
until Yule.
Yeah, with the activity and everything. Yeah, that I noticed that about that because I've been here for 5 years or 6 years actually now, and with all the other places I've been to too, I noticed that there's some times of the year that aren't so good and some are good. So, but
I,
like I
I think the
say,
ghosts go on vacation during the summer.
It's warmer, yeah.
yeah,
They
they
go
go
to
to
Florida.
Florida, right?
Yeah, they're down at the Bahamas, with the little drink with the umbrella in it,
Oh yeah. Oh come on, Roger. They're probably coming down to visit you down in Tennessee, right?
He wishes.
Who, who's the playful male?
Over at Iron Island. Oh,
Yeah.
the one downstairs in the basement. We can't figure it out who it is. I can't be Tommy. He's forever 6 years old, so I don't think he's doing what he
yeah.
did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, ask Mr. Coffee, who's the one that he's an older man, he loves to joke around.
Oh, that's Edgar. Yeah, that's our
That's Edgar?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's a star over here. He pops up once in a while, and you get an EVP from him. Sometimes it's a little X-rated, so. But he does. The first time I ever got an EVP from him was, I can't say it over the air, but it was, yeah, you can probably guess. He told me what he thought of me.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
Boy, I got a little cold here, Roger. But I'll let you go right now, Roger, and because I know you guys are busy and I got to take care of the group. But I thought I'd drop in on you for a little bit, and just say hi, okay?
Well, man, we appreciate it. You call in anytime you want to.
Okay, maybe next week
We're
I'll
always
give you another
welcoming
call.
you
How's
there,
that?
Cool.
We'd love to hear what's going on over there.
Okay, I'll keep you up to date on that, and I enjoy your Facebook stuff too. As you notice there, I'm always reposting it. So.
Right, and I appreciate that.
Okay, well I'll catch you later, though, Roger. I got to get back to the group.
Well, have a good night. I hope everything goes good.
Okay, guys, and Cindy, you take care too. I'll be hearing from you too, right? Oh, you betcha. Okay, take it easy, guys. Bye.
All right, everyone, stand by. You're listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting out of Buffalo, New York.
Okay, folks. Are we breaking? Or are we... Oh, okay.
No, I just had
Right
to call
on.
notice because it was late.
Right, yeah, Hank. What are you doing 5 minutes behind?
Hey, I did not want to interrupt Craig. He's important to us, just like Anita is. Don't you give me no crap.
I'm
Down there to Tennessee and haunt you.
Yes, Cindy. And a handsome couple they are.
Hank's my pal. I love messing with him, though. Getting him going.
Yeah. Old Michigan Hank and Roger, Tennessee. Oh, I almost slipped and said something else, but,
Okay.
I appreciate having
Yeah, we have enough fun with rednecks up here in Washington, trust me.
Yeah,
and I
but ain't
wouldn't
none of them
degrade
like me.
Roger that way. And I wouldn't degrade Roger that way.
Oh, yeah, we do.
We do
Ain't
what?
none of them like me.
Thank God.
Oh no, I love you, Roger.
Well,
you guys.
thank you.
Are wonderful tonight.
I'm glad somebody does. I got you
we
as my
love you
dog,
too.
okay?
Yeah.
So I'm doing good.
We love you too. Yeah, right.
Right. This has been a terrific forum. Having it tonight about the dolls and stuff. I mean, I think a lot of people got a lot of information, from tonight's show.
I would
It's
like to
very
think so.
interesting when and there's so many different types of dolls and that all fit into the doll category, but like we were talking about the ventriloquist dolls, they're dolls, but
Hmm.
they're kind of a little bit on a different scale.
That's great. Yeah, yeah.
So, and you got the voodoo dolls and all that. And it's like you were saying, if a person believes in voodoo and all that stuff, then yeah, if you poke a pin in a doll that look like them, they're going to go, ouch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a mindset.
oh yeah. I mean, if it's that strong, I mean, people, if they even believe that they're cursed, like there's people that they might not really, experience, like it's not directly somebody is like say stabbing them, but they're actually believing that they're cursed, and it actually kills them. Because they believe in their mind that this thing is going to hurt them. And
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it reminds me, I was watching one of the original Star Trek episodes this morning, and exactly the same thing you just said happened. They were supposedly in this Wild West era by this alien, and the one that plays Chekhov, I'm sure you remember him.
Oh yeah.
Was shot with the 6-shooter and died because he believed the bullets could kill him.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a great.
Oh yeah, the gunfight at OK Corral. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that was terrific.
I watched that this morning. It's funny you brought that up.
Well, also with the movie The Matrix, when in The Matrix, if you believe, that you got killed in The Matrix, you actually were killed or dead in real life, because of what they were believing, or not, they had to know that was fantasy and what wasn't really real. But it was so real to them that if they got shot in The Matrix and thought that they were going to die, that they actually did die, even though it was all in the mind, and but I think Star Trek, touched on so many different aspects of what, we just take as common knowledge today. They were so far ahead with some of this.
Gene Roddenberry was a genius.
I'll tell you, I mean, the original Star Trek, I mean, that's what I grew up with, and it's still, of any versions that they've created after, that's still my favorite. There's a couple of years that they had the show, and so many of the things that he created, in just a TV show is now becoming reality, which is so
exactly
unbelievable.
And there's a guy that claims that he can actually build the Starship Enterprise.
Oh well, I'll tell you, a lot of kids.
That warp engine.
No, not with a warp engine, but he can actually build a working, flying Starship Enterprise. It wouldn't have a warp engine, of course.
Wow.
Well, they do have there's a company over in Europe that's building one that looks like it. That's supposed to be aquatic.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of people became scientists and physicists and mathematicians and engineers from watching Star Trek, that they said, I want to be able to do that for the future. And it's like
right.
a self-fulfilling prophecy that Gene Roddenberry comes up with these things. And, just like H.G. Wells and some of the other great science fiction writers, that, they are projecting ahead of what man can do. And now man's catching up with that vision. And, it's like anything. The artists, creative people are the visionaries in the society. And it takes, society to take a while to catch up with those visions, and whether you are doing a formula or doing a engineering structure or doing a doll or creating a painting or writing a script, it's all part of the imagination. And that's what today, kids have to use their imagination more and not be told what to be entertained with, but to go ahead and create the things in the future, work with their hands and work with the imagination, not just everything being handheld and just looking at like a screen all the time, but to actually work 3D. Well, that's what my son with his miniature models. It's 3D gaming. You have tabletops with terrain and castles and villages, and you make these models from scratch. I mean, you make them from the kit, you paint them, and you do all the accessories with it, and you make your armies, or you create your own vignettes and villages and things, and it's all, I mean, these model hobbyists and collectors, it's fantastic what they come up with. It's just amazing.
Yes, it is.
I'll jump in here real quick. I got a dollhouse just right down the street from me. And Anita, I'll tell you what, this husband and wife team has turned their whole entire house into a shop.
Is that right? Oh my gosh.
And it's been there for as long as I've been able to drive, okay? So, I mean, we're talking decades right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to stop in there and check it out. I stopped in there here just recently when we had company out of town, and we went in there, and I couldn't believe the history of dolls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got 2 dolls, seriously, that they treat like kids.
Okay.
Right? When they're watching TV, they set them down next to them. They're watching TV.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
When they go to bed, they go into a crib.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, I understand taking it to the extremes. That's kind of taking it to the extreme, but the passion that they have for these dolls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking Barbie, G.I. Joe, Muppet dolls, the string puppets for the puppeteers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You name it, porcelain, cheap porcelain. What do they call that? You help me on this. It's the worst material, but yet they said it was porcelain.
Oh, it's bisque, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, bisque. Yeah.
You almost barely touch it and it breaks.
Yeah, porcelain is basically the makeup. It's between it being really shiny, which is the China dolls we call them, and the bisque. It's just that one is fired more times with a glaze on it, makes it really shiny. And actually, today the modern dolls that you see, the porcelain dolls, they're all bisque because they're like they have a matte finish to it. They're not real shiny. So bisque means that they haven't been fired as many times as the China dolls. Yeah, and they're painted more to look like real skin and have the glass eyes. A lot of China dolls are the earliest dolls that date from 1840s and 30s. They didn't have inset eyes. They were just painted eyes on the China face itself, and then
right.
Then they started cutting the eye sockets out and putting glass eyes in. But they date from Queen Victoria. I mean, the rarest are from when Queen Victoria got married in 1840 and ascended the throne, of England, and they started creating porcelain dolls in her image, and as I said, it was mostly for the elite people. Young run-of-the-mill people could not afford it. But then when the Germans perfected the porcelain slip material that they pour in the molds like your mom used to do, that they used to, then they had all the kilns fired up, 5,000 objects in one kiln and 40 kilns going at one time. So they actually made in the millions of the China heads. So then when it became more common, then the average person could afford a little doll head and make a body and dress it and stuff. So but it dates. The earliest people, the wealthy people had the dolls, but then became a common thing. And that's what the Germans were able to manufacture and bring that to the everyday common person, be able to have buy a doll for their children, which probably only cost 50 cents or maybe even less than that, back in the day. But and you have the same doll today costs a couple $100, so it's all a matter of what, the time frame. But yeah, I'll tell you, Toby, some people have taken it to such an extreme for doll collecting. They turn their whole houses are just full of dolls. I mean, it's not uncommon for me to get a call that someone passed away and they have 1,000 dolls in one room and they want me to come in and praise it. And I'll tell them, I go, you know what? You've got to call somebody, a major doll auctioneer, come in and sell them all at once, because you're not going to be able to sell these individually. And I don't have that kind of time to sell these on eBay for you, and you're not going to get that kind of money. So I give them the name of doll experts and people in Reading, Pennsylvania, one of the antique capitals of the whole country, and I'll give them reputable doll dealers, and they'll come down and they'll buy the whole collection and give them some really, pretty good money for it, because you can't do it individually. It just takes too much time. And I'm amazed at how many people now have collected, in the thousands. They have thousands of dolls, and when they pass away, their kids don't want them. They don't want all these dolls, to have them in a collection. So it's kind of sad in one way, but I always told my son, I'm not going to leave you a bunch of dolls to have to deal with at any point. I'll make sure that they'll go on auction, or I'll make sure they're dispersed. If I see myself that I can't take care of the collection anymore, you're not going to have to deal with this, and worry about all these dolls. And that's what you need. That's what people have to do. But I'll get people in their 80s and 90s that don't want to part with their dolls. And I said, if you don't do it now, that you'll know where they're going to go. Then they're going to be a good chance that these things are getting thrown out, and nobody's going to take care of them. So it's a responsibility, a big responsibility when you have a big collection, and it's really fascinating. I'll tell you, Toby, that's when people they're really involved with dolls, and it does become kind of an obsession after a while too.
Yeah.
So if a person had, say, a collection of original Star Trek dolls, wonder what they'd be worth, just out of curiosity.
I'll tell you, Roger, it's according to how many, if they're rare, if they made a lot of certain dolls, from the Star Trek collection, but what makes them rare if they're still in the original box, if they're in mint condition, it's always on condition.
Right.
Yeah. So if you have
about the era,
that's what they were made for, kids to play with them. But if you have them where they're still sealed in their original boxes, then you could look at 3 times the amount of what when one has just been played with, compared to what. I mean, I sold a Mr. Spock doll that was given to me, as a joke one Christmas by a friend of mine, and I'm sure it only cost a couple of dollars, but I sold it for like $30 about 10 years ago. The Mr. and he didn't have the original box, but he had his tricorder and he had the phaser, and it was in perfect condition because I never played with it. It was just in my case. So It was a pretty big price back then, but now. I don't know what that would bring, today. But if it's in the original box, it could add, almost like 2/3 more value to something. But it's hard to have things in original boxes if you played with them. That was never the idea that it's going to be a collector's piece.
Well, you know how G.I. Joe dolls, went. Good Lord, people collect them things, and there's some of them that's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, because there's some that were maybe manufactured overseas that were limited editions that were not maybe produced in this country. So you look at the rarity, you look at the condition. As I said, there is this one rare doll that just went up on auction. This Albert Marquis was a French porcelain doll maker, and I don't think he made more than 100 dolls ever in his lifetime, because each one was so unique, and they were dressed by the world famous fashion designers of the early 1900s. So one of those dolls recently went for $325,000 on auction. It was very, very rare. And his dolls have now, and now they just had a German doll that was a very rare, a Kramer Reinhardt doll, and that character doll brought $350,000. So that is the most highly prized doll on auction so far. But an Albert Marquis dolls, they've gone anywhere from $215,000 to $325,000. But this German doll set all kinds of records on auction, because I think it's the only one in existence, where one that they've ever found in the condition it was in, and it just shocked everybody when it brought over $350,000 on auction. So when you
think about a doll.
Yeah, just
you
one.
can sell a doll and buy yourself a house and a car and a couple of horses, and I mean.
I said it's pretty incredible to believe that a doll could go for as much as a house. Some people just don't realize what these dolls are really, really worth. I mean, just the going rate for just a French fashion doll. They basically have to spend over $2,000 just for one. These dolls are always really beautiful condition, beautiful dresses and things. But sometimes you can hit a doll that was in grandmom's attic. like this one girl found this one doll in her grandmother's trunk. Most of the collection had been stolen by movers, but they didn't know this one was overlooked in the trunk. And when they put it up on eBay, they just started at basically $99. The doll went for $10,000. It turned out to be a rare cashmere blue French doll, and it was a one-time owner. The doll was incredible condition, and these people were shocked. I mean, they had no idea the doll was going to bring anything near that, but they didn't even know what they had. But collectors know, and they just kept outbidding each other. Because there's no.
My wife has a porcelain doll that it had a box in the body that you wind up with a key.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it was given to her. We had a friend that lived next door to us, and she was like in her 80s, I guess. Mm-hmm. She was a real sweet lady. Well, when, she gave that doll to my wife, and she'd had that thing forever. Mm-hmm. And she gave it to her, before she passed and everything, and she still got it here somewhere. And it needs some repairs. I wish she was close to us because I'd love to see that thing brought back to the original, condition.
Roger, does it wind up that she walks the doll? Is it a walkature doll?
No. It's got the Raggedy Ann type body, but it's got a metal box in it, and you wind it up, and I don't remember what it's supposed to do. The head's supposed to turn or something.
Okay.
Maybe the arms move or something like that, but it had like the Raggedy Ann legs, and the body part. Mm-hmm. And porcelain head and everything, and it's a beautiful piece.
Well, I'll tell you, Roger. If you if you think you wanted to mail it to me, I could see about maybe fixing it for you because a lot of people mail me the dolls, and then you make sure it's insured, it's really packed professionally, that you don't want it broken in transit. But I would love to be able to help you fix and bring it back to maybe the original condition or whatever. If you ever find it, I would surely.
Well, she's got it packed away somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but
okay.
I remember when she got that thing, and she was just so amazed by look how it's so adorable, and of course it's kind of a little stained, and it's very old. I don't know when exactly it was made, but I know Miss Bobby had it for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And of course, now this was back when I was in my late 20s.
Okay, so and it was this elderly lady's doll. So you're looking maybe it's probably close to 100 years old, maybe.
Oh yeah, by now, yeah, every bit of it.
But they had when they were making dolls at the turn of the century, Thomas Edison actually took a turn, something different, and he made a talking Edison doll. And they had the beautiful rare porcelain heads from the French and German manufacturers, and they put them on these bodies with a recorder in it that either you could wind it up or it had actually a phonograph inside the body that would play the recording of Mama, and it would say different things. Well, it scared the bejesus out of the kids when the doll was talking to them, and it did not go over well at all, even though it was a beautiful doll. But as soon as this thing was talking with this, I'm sure it sounded scratchy on the rollers the way it was talking to the children. It did not go over. And in Orange County, New Jersey, when he had his factory, I would love to be able to be an archaeologist and find where this is, but they dug a big pit in this Orange County, New Jersey, where he had his factory, Thomas Edison. They dug a big pit and dumped all these dolls in there, and these dolls are so rare this day. So God knows where this might be. So.
Right. Okay, we have a call. Caller, you're on the air.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Oh, all hail. Everybody bow.
Good evening, Anita.
As soon as she regains her composure, yes.
How are we doing tonight, Mr. Bo, sir?
I am amazing.
Well, we knew that, but...
And yourself?
Oh, well, I'm amazing too, but I don't tell everybody.
Very well. I tell everyone.
Yeah, we figured that. So, what's going on in your backyard these days?
Sometimes
Lots
Tracy
of
tells them.
things. Lots of things in my backyard. As you know, I've been in the field since 1979, and that's very amazing. I started my first group, and I called it Finding Anomalies Known Everywhere, or FAKE for short. And we have found many things. Although I was the only member, I decided to quit.
Now you and all the other yous that were in your group there originally.
Yes, I'm a producer.
All these amazing things that you have discovered and everything. What about has your alien friend been to visit lately?
Not lately, and I'm afraid I'm going to have some tough news to break to him concerning the Count Chocula. Seems that I was recently contacted by Uncle Sam. Seems that they're a little upset with me claiming my buying of Count Chocula on my tax return. I've also
I don't see why they get upset about that. I mean, it was a reasonable deduction, right?
Reasonable. I took the liberty of adding some transportation and handling expenses in there also. So they're a little upset with me right now. So it looks like I'm going to have to do a little belt tightening. I won't be able to add to my mask collection for a little while. I'll have to check with my galactic friends on if they would be willing to settle for a generic brand of cereal. I just recently looked at one called Vampire Chocolate Puffs.
Well, I mean, you could always switch to Cocoa Puffs or something like that.
They're very picky. They're a very picky alien race.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, is this Roger and Hank?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Oh, it's so great to meet you guys. My name's Cheryl Johnson here. I was calling to speak with Bo.
Well, how are you doing?
Oh.
Well, hi, hon. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually Cindy's daughter, and I'm a huge fan of Bo Jerkhart's, and I just wanted to call in and say hello to
We
him.
figured that, hon.
Well, bless your heart.
Shout at him. Shout at him.
Thank you very much, Cheryl.
Oh, my God. This is really Bo Jerkhart?
The one and only.
Oh,
He is
Your
amazing.
Eminence, I am so enthralled to be in your presence.
I am amazing.
Yes, you are. I've followed your studies for years. You're just a renowned paranormal expert. I'm honored to be in your presence.
I've been in the field since 1979. Have I ever
Yes,
said that?
I've been following you for quite long.
Very well.
You have many followers.
I do. And Bo Jerkhart happens to be very popular with the ladies.
I'm sure you are.
Yes.
I had a question for you.
Okay.
I've noticed there's this guy.
Wait, I'm picking up a vibe. This guy. Go ahead.
Hello?
She's speechless.
All hail, Bo. He's amazing.
She must have fainted.
Yes. She passed out.
Yeah, she did. She folded in your presence.
That's happened many times before. It's understandable.
Okay,
Oh,
you're back
hello?
on the air.
Cheryl, you're
Oh,
back.
I'm sorry. My phone got excited because it's in the presence of Bo.
You must
And I
have an
also
Obama
wanted-
phone also.
Yes, it's an Obama phone. Well, my question to you was, there's this guy, his name sounds a lot like yours, and he seems to be following quite closely what you do. I mean, does this happen a lot where people mimic your actions and try to be like you?
And Cheryl, yes. In fact, they do. My amazingness is a blessing and yet a curse. Which reminds me of a fan letter that I got this week. Actually, if I could read it, it has a lot in common with what you're saying.
Please do.
Is it okay?
Enlighten us.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. This comes, I got this one from Dale from East Aurora, New York. It says, Dear Bo, I am a huge fan. In fact, I even tried to emulate your amazing abilities, but I failed miserably. So bad that my wife left me. I can no longer afford to make the mortgage payments on my house and will need to move into an apartment. Is there any way that I can fix this problem? Well, Dale, you made your bed. Now you're going to have to sleep in it. Alone. I bet your right hand never looked so good. Good luck. But yes, like you said,
Whole new
Cheryl,
idea
there
of
are
being a
many.
state drunk, huh?
It's sad when people, they try so hard to be like you that they lose everything they got because they know they can't be like you.
Right.
Well, that's what I've noticed. And this guy, he seems to be stalking my mother. I mean, every day it seems like every day if we go out for coffee, we're stalking his house. If we go around the corner, we're doing things to him. Since this is an anti-bullying type thing, have you ever encountered bullying within the paranormal community?
Have I? I should say not, because I believe everyone agrees with me.
Oh, well, I'm sure why wouldn't they? I mean, I've seen your evidence. It is hard proof that you are just the greatest paranormal investigator ever. I mean, your name should be trademarked.
Thank you. In fact, I'm working on that. And I'm also working on marrying myself.
Oh, you're marrying yourself also?
Yes.
Also, before I get off the line, I wanted to say hi to Anita. I know she's still in there somewhere, right? Hi, it's so nice to meet you.
Oh,
I've been listening to the show, and you seem to have a real passion for your craft.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to be on tonight and share, stories with everybody, and also some of the experiences I've had. But also it's been great talking to Roger and Hank and to Toby, and Cindy, and just sharing, their own experiences and things that they've read up on. We could be on the subject all night. There's just so much that you can, talk about. But I really appreciate that you came on to call us and talk to us.
And
of
see,
course,
Anita,
you must be in
by
awe.
you calling in, you got to be in the presence of his eminence, of the Grand Poobah of the paranormal.
I mean, he's so handsome, this Bo Jerkhart. I mean, but Bo, you're a very handsome man.
Thank you, Anita. Perhaps we can get together sometime and talk about me.
Okay. I'm going for coffee.
Well, what else would you talk about?
What else is there to talk about? It's Bo Jerkhart.
Exactly.
The one and only.
I mean,
you could be speechless in his presence, so it would be, an evening of just gazing into each other's eyes.
Yes. And
He'd be wearing
perhaps
sunglasses.
protect you from my aura of awesomeness.
well, Bo, I had the honor of everybody always tries to figure out who you really are. You know, I mean, you're such a star within the paranormal community. Everybody thinks that you're somebody. But I actually had the honor of being called you. They said that I was you. And I am
Really?
I'm absolutely floored by this. I mean, I could never be that great.
No, but you had to be thrilled that somebody would think that you were that awesome.
Hello, I mean, have you seen his evidence?
Yes, I have.
Undisputable evidence. I mean, he has been contacted by aliens. He's seen dinosaurs in his backyard. I mean,
and a junk card.
Most of us will never.
And I make quick decisions. I make quick decisions without science. Who needs that?
And don't forget the MIB in his front yard.
Yeah.
Did somebody market the bow shirt with arrows all over it?
I'm sorry?
You know what?
I'm with Bo, and then all the arrows down below going all over in different directions. Did you market that already?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh, the arrows? No, I've been very busy. I've been in the Jerk Cart Studios this week, working on my new album called Me, 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 Me. There was a mishap that happened earlier. I was in there recording a track, and one of the walls had collapsed that I use in my studio. And as you know, I use laundry baskets, dirty laundry baskets as sound buffers, and one of them collapsed in front of me, and I escaped with my life.
Shocking.
I believe it was sabotage.
Darn that dirty laundry.
Well, you know, he's a man of danger.
It was probably one of the many entities that are so jealous of you.
Possibly. Or all those cars that keep driving by and looking at me. But now,
I was going to ask you if you were doing some more research on the sandwich entity, and we're all curious to see anything new has come up with that.
I had submitted my work for the Nobel Prize, and I'm still waiting back to hear from them on that subject. I would be the first recipient to win for sandwich entities. And,
but how did they turn you down?
They said they would get back to me. So I've been waiting on that. I did want to tell you, you asked me last week about the vampire that's in my backyard.
Yes.
I went into my backyard to see the vampire. I found him and spoke to him telepathically. He told me that he was a descendant of the vampire known as Nosferatu.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
He also told me that he was very misunderstood, and his real name was Nosferatu II, not Nosferatu. So they misunderstood that right off the bat. So
it'd be Nosferatu too?
Nosferatu Jr.
Oh, Junior.
Nosferatu II. So this one that I was speaking to was Nosferatu III.
Oh, okay.
So we call him Nosferatu III.
Now, what did he tell you telepathically?
That they messed up his name.
Oh, that they screwed his name up.
Yeah. And he was pretty upset about that. And he told me to spread the word.
Now, is he interested in playing a vampire role in any of the new Harlems?
He doesn't get out very often because he doesn't carry any cash. As far as going to the movies, he just kind of hangs out in my backyard. right in the tree line, where I try to film them, but it's always blurry.
Right, and I figured that some of these big networks would be trying to get him to play a part in their movie.
Yeah, or even just do an investigation in my yard to find him. I've gone to all the TV producers, and none of them had answered me back.
Well, you got to get rid of those blue men out front.
Yeah, the men in red.
The men in red, you got to get rid of them first.
That's right.
So, would it be more of a Twilight movie or more of a horror movie that he'd want to play in? I mean, is he more of a romantic vampire? Or?
I'd have to ask him about that. We did talk about music, and he did say that he was into Neil Diamond, so I don't know.
That is awesome.
And the batteries on his radio died. He asked me for AAA batteries.
Okay. Now, does he listen to the old Walkman style radio, or is he like the modern day vampire?
He's got I think it's an AM FM transistor radio with a broken antenna.
Oh, those are the best kind.
So he can only pick up the AM stations. So he's got to listen to oldies.
I like oldies myself.
In fact, they're singing
I'm sure he jams out.
Cherry Baby all the time.
Big Girls Don't Cry.
No, that's not Neil Diamond.
No, it's not. It's Cherry Baby was
Frankie Valli. In the fourth season.
Yes, Frankie Valli, and so was Big Girls Don't Cry.
Yes.
But I figured.
Well, I'm a big Neil Diamond fan too. Maybe you should hook me up with this vampire. You'd have like a Twilight thing going on.
Very interesting.
Better than Barry Manilow.
Anita, how much would a Bo Jerkart doll go for?
I think you got her thunderstruck, or she don't know what to say.
Oh.
Caught her by surprise.
I'd be willing to donate a couple of my sleeveless shirts to make clothing for it.
Anita, are you still here?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm here.
Bo had a question for you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bo. I left the room for a second, and I didn't know. I didn't mean to be out of your line of vision.
That's okay. I was wondering how much a Bo Jerkart doll would go for if it wore my true original clothing.
Wait a minute, let me see. I gotta turn up the volume here. I can't understand what you just said. Could you repeat that question, Bo?
Yes, I would be interested in a Bo Jerkart doll.
Oh, gee, that would be interesting. I think that would be quite a unique character doll because you have such character in your face.
If I were to make that, how much could I sell it for?
Well, let's see. If you do one-of-a-kind type of doll, then you can ask any price you would like, I guess, because you'd be one of a kind. There would never be another one in existence. So,
well, he is one of a kind.
So you might be you might become priceless at this point. So.
Yeah, I need some fast cash.
you actually,
would it be more like a Cabbage Patch? Does it look more like a Cabbage Patch doll or like a Chucky doll?
Maybe more of a. Let's see. No, you wouldn't go well with a Chucky doll. I'm thinking more of a type of like more like a Muppet type of person.
Well, you got Robert the doll. Why can't you have Bo the doll?
That's right, Bo the doll. Yeah, and he could be like sort of like a little bit more like he could be animated like a Muppet doll could be, and be able to manipulate the hands. I don't know, but you might not want anybody to manipulate you, Bo. You would want to be unique in
Well,
yourself.
and you'd have to have the accessories that go with it, like, you know, the backyard scene and the sandwichinities and all that kind of stuff, and the aliens.
Yes, in a sleeveless shirt.
That's right. Yeah, you can have that as accessories people to buy and have that.
Yes, I would like my doll to be true to life, so I would want it to smell like cats and cigarette smoke.
Well, you would have the physique, like I guess, of a GI Joe, and then your head's kind of let me see. You look good with a hat on your head. You need to have a really cool accessory, like maybe a ninja cap to go on your head, and you know, a place for your nunchucks and stuff like that you could beat back.
And maybe a mask.
Have a vest.
And a string in its back that you can pull, and it would say different things like, "Don't you know who I am?"
Yeah, you could have a variety of sayings like
"Get
bird.
off my lawn."
Yeah, it could work.
I am amazing.
Yeah, there you go.
Cheryl, quit following me. Like that.
I am amazing. Don't you know who I am?
Well, I can't help but drive by your house. I have to see what you're doing. I mean, your yard is just amazing.
There's so much happening in my backyard. It is.
I know. I'm just trying to catch some of that, you know, myself, because I'm trying to be as great as you.
It's a groupie thing, and it's understandable.
Well, now I heard a rumor that people are going to start coming by and digging up little spoons full of your yard so they can have a souvenir. You know, you might want to watch that.
Wow. I'll be out there with camera in hand to warn everybody off of my lawn. Bad enough I have dinosaurs cutting across my lawn.
Well, and jerk heart devils and vampires and aliens and everything else.
Yes. If I may, I was thinking of showing you some of my amazing abilities, if that's all right with your audience.
That's fine. Go ahead.
I would like to channel. I'm going to channel into another spirit of. It's coming to me. The spirit of Helen Keller.
Okay.
Here we go. Hello? Hello, is anybody there?
Yes, we're here.
Hello? I can't hear you. Hello? Who rearranged the furniture? Hello? I can't hear you. Okay, I'm back. I'm amazing. That just
Did
took
she
everything.
trip over something?
That took everything out of me. I'm exhausted.
There it is, greatness. Wow.
Hank says that me you're looking for.
Oh, I really think you need to get a Red Bull.
A Red Bull. I might have one of those in my backyard.
He was doing Helen Keller, not Lionel Richie.
Oh God.
Is it
But
me
now he
you're looking for?
might channel Lionel Richie if you ask, though.
Oh, I won't go that far.
Oh, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. I am just absolutely blown away by his awesomeness.
Well,
Yeah,
yes, we
besides
all are.
Lionel Richie will probably be in there all night long, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, the pain.
Well, you know, Bo, we are not worthy. We're not worthy to be in your presence.
Well, see, But one of the lines from his song fits you so well, where it says, "Say me."
Yes. Say you, say me some more.
Hence,
Yes,
that's why the title of the new album's called Me, 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 Me.
Right.
Absolutely. Did you enjoy
And the whole song goes, "Say me and say me some more."
Did you enjoy the music video?
Well, yes, very much. When's the new song coming out?
Well, I've been working very hard on, well, like I said, I had the mishap in the studio, so there's, dirty clothes all over the floor, and, as you know, I'm a very big person, and I don't, do a lot, so I cannot, bend over to pick up the clothes. Bend over
You mean bend over?
to pick up the clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to wait for someone to come around to pick them up for me.
It sounds like Bo needs one of those grabbers with the hover round.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good.
Oh, Mr. Turkhart, if you ever need any help, you can call me.
Oh, that'd be terrific. Maybe you could come over and touch the hem on my sleeveless shirt.
Oh,
I bet you'd like that.
I would be so honored.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't have a spasm or an attack or something now because he offered to let you do that.
I don't even know what to do with myself right now. I am floored. Like, I've never had such an honor put upon me before.
It's Bomania.
It's taking over. It's taking over.
Do you do the thing like Hulk Hogan where you rip your shirt off with your bare hands and all
no,
that stuff?
I try to lift it up over my belly and it gets stuck. And then it gets up like around my head and I can't see anything and as you know I have a lot of afflictions. I have trouble doing anything because I'm a chronic everything.
Hey, there you go, Bomania. There you go.
Now that must make it hard though when you're trying to view these entities and stuff like that.
When I tried to do what? I'm sorry.
When you're trying to film these entities and stuff that are running around in your backyard and stuff, that you have the blurred visions.
It's so hard to keep up with them. I chase them around, and I have that cane with like the 4 little legs at the bottom. And I say, hey, come back here. Come back here. Come back here. You know who I am. Most of the time they turn around and come back.
Well, yeah, when you tell them, don't you know who I am, they have no choice.
I tell them the power of Bo compels you.
We are so amazed. We are just blown away with all your wisdom.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, pretty soon I will be going back into the studio once that's cleared up, and I've been writing feverishly some songs, and they will be coming out shortly.
We can hardly wait to see your next music video.
Oh, okay. That would be very well. I'm also still bottling my bodily fluids to save for a later date. I got a dilemma. I have 2 bottles here next to me. One is a Diet Mountain Dew. The other one was my deposit, and I don't know which one is which. So you'll hold on just a second. I'm just going to take a taste here and see. Let me taste this first. Okay.
You can't bottle you, Bo. You're unbelievable. You can't bottle what you have, Bo.
Well, I took a taste of that first one, and I wish I could say that I made the right choice, but I didn't. But hold on, let me take a swig of that again because my breath smells better now.
Bo, I hate to tell you this because it's always such an honor, but we're going to have to get ready to shut this thing down.
Okay.
And
bid you a fair adieu.
It was my pleasure, and I wish you all a lovely evening.
Adieu.
Thank you, Bob.
We're always amazed, and you know, you call in any time and keep us updated on the Sandwiginity and the Nobel Prize and all that, and of course the new hit records and.
I shall.
And everybody in the backyard.
And everybody in the backyard, right.
You bet.
Everybody in the chat room, everybody that called in, thank you so much. We appreciate it. It's been such an honor having His Eminence here again. And we shall be back next week when, of course, I guess we'll talk about the Boogeyman and the Mothman and some other interesting stuff.
Yeah, we'll save the rest of that for next time there, Roger.
And, well, that's not a problem. But, I mean, I thought everything was great. Anita, nice having you here.
Oh, thank you, Roger. Thank you, Hank. Cindy. Thanks, Toby. Thank you, Bob. It really was a pleasure. Had a really great time with all of you, and just learned a lot from what you guys have researched too. Really, really was a pleasure and an honor to be on your show.
Well, the honor was all ours, and of course, Bo, the honor was all ours. Yeah, next week we'll be talking about Boogeyman, Mothman, and Hank's got some interesting stuff.
We'll do the evidence, and
who knows who will show up. So until that time, fare thee well, Auf Wiedersehen, and if you can't be normal,
be paranormal.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
You are listening to WCJV Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, New York.